The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.
Hello, everybody. Chris Egan here, King 5 Sports. The Big Game is back, and we've got a dandy tonight. Emerald Ridge facing off against Puyallup. It's homecoming night tonight for the Jags, and Coach Donovan joins us now. And Coach, this is always fun when you face off against the Vikings, you face off against the Rams, a lot of rivalries in Puyallup, but this is a big one tonight. Your thoughts on this matchup against Puyallup?
Yeah, well, I mean, watching film, they're going to be tough. They're always good. They're coached well, and so it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a challenge tonight, but it's good because we got our quarterback back, Braden Paulino. He's going to be back after missing the half of Bethel and then all last week, so we think our defense has been playing really well, played GK tough. So if our defense can just kind of hold Puyallup down a little bit, I think we can hang in there.
We're pretty big up front, a pretty physical team that can beat you with our ground game, but also if given opportunities, take some shots down the field and use our athletes and speed. So I think we're still trying to fine-tune some things. I mean, as a new staff, you get here in the summer and you try to establish a culture. So we're still trying to be, a little bit more disciplined. We're trying to, do the little things right. But as far as talent, this is as talented a team as I've ever coached. So,
all right, let's get the big game rolling. On the Emerald Ridge Jaguars, 1-2, and some would argue maybe they are the best 1-2 team in the state right now. They had a quarterback that went down with injury in those two losses. He is healthy. He is ready to go tonight, and we're excited tonight during the big game. We've got former Emerald Ridge coach Troy Haffaday. Head coach, they had 5 head coaches for a while. Troy Haffaday was one of those coaches from 2010 to 2019. Also played for the Puyallup Vikings back in 1988 through 1990. Puyallup gets the handoff there. That's going to be Brighton Bailey with the carry. Looks like he has enough for the first down. And Troy Haffaday joins us in the booth. And Coach Haffaday, it's a pleasure to have you here tonight for the King 5 Big Game of the Week.
Well, good evening, Chris. I tell you, this is a wonderful opportunity for me. I just appreciate being in the booth. It's obviously a different perspective up here in the box. Usually it's the defensive staff and the offensive staff up here, listening to music and enjoying the scenery and eating their popcorn. But tonight I'm excited to be here with you.
Well, it's a thrill to have you, and obviously you know this game of football. 1st and 10, Puyallup took the opening kickoff, and they're going to go to the air. That is Luke Parker with the throw, and on the catch there is Jaden Woodland. He is a good one. And if you're scouting the Puyallup Vikings and you're looking for the wide receivers, just look for 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. They are the combination you'll be looking at tonight. Josiah Denmark, Jai Mitchell, Jaden Woodland, Lawson Looker, and Zach McGowan. 1st down and 10, and the Vikings are moving the chains right now. Luke Parker, actually a wide receiver. He plays in the secondary. He's playing quarterback tonight. He's played quarterback in the first 3 games, and he's done a great job. Parker going to the air again. He hooks up with Woodland again. Woodland to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Puyallup Vikings. I mentioned Jaden Woodland is a threat. 2 quick catches from him, and just like that, Puyallup is on the board, Troy Haffaday.
Yeah, and I believe actually Luke Parker was the Washington State Coach Association Athlete of the Week this week. And so obviously he knows what he's doing down there, and looking forward to a good game with him.
Yeah, he came out throwing the rock, and the Puyallup Vikings averaged 232 passing yards, and we saw some of that right there. Jaden Woodland came into this game with 17 catches for 240 yards. He now has 19 catches and added another touchdown to his resume. So the Vikings on their opening drive march down the field, get 6 points. The kick is up, and it is no good. So the kick is no good. So the Vikings lead it 6-0 with just 10:31 to play here in the first quarter of play. And Troy Haffaday, you've had the pleasure to coach on this Emerald Ridge staff. Torrey Donovan has done a fantastic job at Emerald Ridge. The Jags are a team that not only gets in the playoffs every year, they're a team that produces high-quality players. We're going to see a couple of them tomorrow. Jacob Lane, Denzel Boston playing for the University of Washington against number 1 Ohio State. You got Jake Skockle over at Eastern Washington, and then a lot of other Jags scattered in Division II and Division III play. But if you're Torrey Donovan and the coaching staff, not what you wanted to see on that opening drive.
No, certainly not. However, these are games where they're defining games, right? They're 1-2. However, it gives them a little chance to kind of settle down, get the nerves out, and they'll bounce right back. I know Coach Donovan has his troops ready.
And you talk about defense, Troy. This is an Emerald Ridge team coming off of a loss to Graham Capalson, but they only gave up 14 points to a very lethal Eagles team.
Very much so, and I think obviously that's their strength is their defense, and defensive line especially. They got a couple guys back last week, and and they get the quarterback back tonight. So again, just a great opportunity for them to bounce back and show their perseverance.
All right, so the Vikings lead it 6-0, coming to you from Spark Stadium here in the first quarter. They score on their opening drive. Luke Parker, a couple nice throws, hooking up with Jaden Woodland. And I mentioned those threats on the Vikings offense. They've got a lot of them. Jai Mitchell, Jaden Woodland, Josiah Denmark, Lawson Looker, Zach McGowan. But now it's Emerald Ridge's turn, and they have a young man by the name of Braden Polino. If you're a Vikings fan and the name sounds familiar, he actually played for Puyallup last year. Now transfers, now the quarterback at Emerald Ridge. Puyallup has brought in a quarterback by the name of Noah Smith. Won't be eligible until next week when they take on the Sumner Spartans. So it's Luke Parker, the athlete, that does it all and looks pretty good at quarterback too.
Very much so, very much so.
All right, what do we know, Troy, about this ER offense? We know that Braden Polino is starting. We know that when he's out there, they're very good. They took out Kentwood in week 1. They were leading Bethel. Then he gets injured. Bethel comes back and wins it. Couldn't play against GK. They couldn't score, but he's healthy tonight and on the field.
Yeah, I like how they spread it out, and they're very dynamic. I love the open look, get them spread, kind of see if they can get the run game established. And I think
Polino's going to throw deep, and he is looking, but could not find Hunter Russlin. Hunter Russlin was the targeted receiver on that one.
Intended for number 0, Hunter Russlin falls incomplete, brings up second down.
Troy Haffaday coached the mighty Emerald Ridge Jags. Some great years you had there.
Yeah.
Still good to see. You got Torrey Donovan and Adam Skockle, part of that those 5 coaches down there?
And former players down there coaching as well. So, I mean, even we have a coach coaching the ladies' flag football team as well down there coaching the guys. So it's fun to see them.
And my apologies, that was Hunter Russler. And, he had a wide open target right there. He was looking for number 23 on the Jags. Looking at my roster,
Penalty flag in the backfield.
was Timothy Woodard, a 9th grader. And this Emerald Ridge team, talking to Coach Torrey Donovan, very young. A lot of youngsters. They have several 9th graders that will play tonight.
Yeah, that's what I was talking to Coach Donovan earlier this week, and he was kind of talking about how their youthful group, a lot of juniors, and their freshman team's looking pretty good this year. So, again, they're establishing, what they know, and it's the little details that matter. And Coach Donovan's done a great job of making sure that these guys know what they need to do tonight to be successful.
It is homecoming night tonight for Emerald Ridge, wearing their black tops and black bottoms with their gray helmets on top. The Vikings just a half mile away from their home, Puyallup High School, wearing their road white pants, white tops, and their old school purple helmets with the Vikings across the top. We talk about Emerald Ridge, head coach Torrey Donovan, 1-2 so far this season, averaging just over 18 points a game, giving up 21 points a game. Right now, the concern, if you're Emerald Ridge, Troy, they're only averaging about 51 yards rushing a game. So that, I think, is a concern if you're looking at this. They got to get the run game going a little bit.
Yes, of course. And when you get the run game established, it opens up your pass game for sure. And hopefully they start working with that. And again, it's all about the game plan and what they can see as a weakness, and they'll attack that weakness. And at that point, I truly believe it's up in the trenches. You got to get that line of scrimmage established, and again, like you said, the run game is really, really important in doing that. And
a name you may be hearing tonight a lot from Emerald Ridge is that Zab Zankner comes into this game with 297 receiving yards. Zab is a playmaker. We saw him last year making a lot of plays, so he's somebody that they want to get the rock to quite a bit. Emerald Ridge started the season with a 34-19 win over Kentwood, the Conquerors. Then they lost a tough one to Bethel, 21-31. Week 3, you're facing off against a GK team that we saw in week 1 of the big game. They took out O'Day and only lost 14-0. It's a loss, but they got to be pretty happy with the way they held up against them.
Yeah, I mean, GK is a well-established program and a great team and has done really well over the years. And so, yeah, just to get out of there 14-0 is certainly a significant victory in a lot of ways.
Troy, take me through what we're seeing on the field right now. The referees are talking. And help me out here, but this usually means there was some talking on the field. The referees bring the captains and coaches out, and now the coaches are talking to the players. Is that what we're seeing? We're seeing this a lot in high school football.
We are, and it's unfortunate. However, these rivalries are established, way back when, and they're only 5-6 miles apart, 45 minutes away by car, though. Because of the Southfield traffic. However, yeah, these unsportsmanlike calls sometimes, are unfortunate, and hopefully the referees looks like they're getting control of the game right now, which is nice.
All right, Torrey Donovan talking with his players. You see Torrey right there in the middle, chatting with his Jags players. Coach Haffaday talked about it. It gets chippy. These are rivalries.
Yeah.
These kids have been battling since kindergarten, then they get into junior high, and you got Aylen and Edgemont facing off against Glacier View and Stahl and Ferrucci, and now they're in high school. So these kids have been playing each other ever since they were 5 to 6 years of age.
Yeah, they are. And, and the thing is, that's what I love about, Coach Donovan. He understands the little details matter, and it does come down to, playing with inside the whistle and making sure you're doing the right thing all the time out there versus, chipping at each other.
All right. 3rd down. ER in some trouble. Polino scrambling, looking for some room. Great little run right here. Picks up some change. That should give him a little room to get off a cleaner punt, but a nice little carry there from Braden Polino. That's going to bring up 4th down, and the Jags will probably punt this away. I don't think Torrey Donovan's going to get that risky this early, is he?
No. Yeah, that field position is important, so again, yeah, that's a smart call right there.
All right, just the penalties early cost the Jags some field position. If you're just joining us on the King 5 Big Game of the Week, brought to you by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you. Puyallup got the kickoff. They went down the field and scored. A couple nice passes from Luke Parker to Jaden Woodland. They missed the extra point. I'm not quite sure what's going on down there right now, Troy. The referees are still discussing stuff. They keep pointing Puyallup's ball. Did ER go for it on 4th down? Was there a miscommunication down there? I think ER thought it was 3rd down. I thought it was 3rd down, Troy.
Yeah, so did I. And on the far side, it was 3rd down as well. When there we go. Now it's 4th down.
Okay.
4th and 14.
I think, and Torrey Donovan is still down there talking to. He's got 3 officials. Take us through the head coach. You've been down there. What's going on right now, Troy?
Yeah, just getting clarification. There's so much stuff that is going on down there, and I'm not sure what they're talking about right now in regards to the field position or the down. But
well,
yeah, I don't.
If we would rewind it, I believe it's 4th down, and I think ER is going to be punting. Yeah. Torrey's trying to get some updates. I think one ref literally was pointing because I think he was looking at the sticks, which said 4th down. But sometimes, Troy, you have people working the sticks that humans make mistakes.
We all do, right? yeah, for sure. And usually the refs are on the same page. They have their ability to double check themselves. So again, I think there's more going on to it than just the down.
Well, we're coming in tonight from beautiful Spark Stadium, and with 2 passing teams, we knew it was going to be a long game. Throw in some officials now, and this thing may be over by 10:30 tonight. The scoreboard said it was 4th and 20, but yours truly in the booth thought it was 3rd down and 20. I think Coach Donovan thought it was 3rd down and 20. So now they got all the officials there discussing this. And since we are at beautiful Spark Stadium, it gives me time to kind kind of let people – we like to give a history lesson, if you will, Troy. And before the Puyallup School District opened Rogers High School in 1968, the sports facility known as Spark Stadium was actually called Viking Field because before Rogers, there was only one high school in town. That was Puyallup High. The field back then, it was grass with a wooden-covered grandstand on the south side of the field. In 1969, Rogers, officially a high school in town, Viking Field was renamed Sparks Stadium in recognition of Mr. Carl Sparks. Mr. Sparks moved to Puyallup in 1939, served as head basketball and head football coach at Puyallup High. Carl was also the Puyallup School District's first athletic director. So there you go. There's your little history on Sparks Stadium.
Well, that's interesting because it was my 9th grade year that they ended up burning down the stands. And so we didn't get our night game. However, that allowed us to have my sophomore year when the Vikings won the state championship in a new stadium. So the first year the stadium was built, Billy and company won the King Bowl.
You seem a little bitter about not getting that night game still.
I'm very bitter, actually.
Troy Halladay coached Emerald Ridge from 2010 to 2019, played for the Vikings from 1988 to 1990. You had the pleasure to play for Mike Huard, who will be joining us in the booth in the second half. It's going to be great to see Coach Huard. What was it like playing for Coach Huard back in the days?
You know, he just believed in us, and he was so instrumental in who I am today, and not just Coach Huard, even Peggy Huard, who was, just incredibly dynamic and supportive and encouraging through the whole process. But he knew the game of football. It was well established, very disciplined, and he paid attention to the little details. And not that you just take that on the football field, what he tossed on the football field, but you're able to take that into where life is in the classroom. And it's just paying attention to those little details in life.
Well, it looks like we're finally going to get this game rolling again. A long delay there over whether it was third down or fourth down. I didn't see a lot of arguing from the Puyallup sidelines. Officials were basically on the ER sidelines the whole time. When it's all said and done, it is officially fourth down now, and Emerald Ridge will punt it away. But whatever happens here, the Puyallup Vikings are going to have some great field position. And the punt is up to the sidelines, fielded by Jaden Woodland, and Woodland is everywhere. Another flag down on the field.
I don't know if that was like a sideline interference there, because I'm not sure what else would be back there.
It looks exactly like we see one of the ER coaches letting one of his players have it there, because I think it was a sideline interference.
Yeah, those get-back coaches. I had one, Mr. Snell. He works for L&L Printing. He was always pulling us back, and sometimes we get a little fiery with him too. But you need those guys down there.
The get-back coach.
The get-back coach.
All right, the get-back coaches. All right, here comes the Puyallup Vikings. Head coach DJ Mims. Last year, he was at Mercer Island High School. He grew up in the 253, went to Franklin Pierce High School, played for Coach Lutton over there and Jason Gesser. They had a really good team. I believe made it to the semifinals, the Franklin Pierce Cardinals. DJ went on to play college football, was doing great things at Mercer Island, wanted to get back in the 253. The Puyallup Viking job opened up, and DJ took over, and so far, so good for Coach Mims, and that's Brighton Bailey with the carry right there. And Bailey has been a threat so far this season. 447 rushing yards coming into this game, 7 touchdowns. Bailey knows how to sift that end zone and get in there. And Troy, as I'm taking the eye test right now, I'm seeing good things from Luke Parker, Bailey, but I'm looking at that offensive line, and they got some big boys down there in the trenches.
Big boys, and I love the fact that he hits that hole so quick. He just trusts his lineman.
Kova Doyle is a name you need to know, number 56 for the Vikings. He is one of the best in the country right there. There's the pass, and Parker, wetted out, hooks up with Jaden Woodland. And I don't know, Troy, I'm not a football coach. I'm not going to act like one, but you got to get somebody on Jaden Woodland right now.
Yeah,
he is having a night.
Bring it up, that's for sure. It's tough when you got athletic guys out there, and it might be a situation where they're trying to find matches to where they're going to be successful at. Right now, they're probably, I'm assuming, in a coverage that they might have to look to change down the road.
All right, first quarter from Sparks Stadium, 8:53 on the clock. clock. Vikings lead at 6-0, moving the chains back in the red zone again. First down and goal. Luke Parker in the shotgun formation. Hands it off, and that is going to be a touchdown for Brighton Bailey. Came into this game with 7 touchdowns. He now has 8. He is a touchdown maker, and why not follow the big boys? Brighton Bailey saw a big hole. Kova Doyle, Marley, Molotov Muma, and Preston Liberal leading the way down there.
They are. They just keep moving their feet and keep pushing.
These guys have not missed a lot of mills, Troy.
No, they haven't. No, that's what you need on that front line for sure. You need big guys.
You need big guys, and they've got them. All right, looks like the Vikings are going to go for 2. They got Lawson Looker lined up as the quarterback. Lawson Looker takes the pitch. Lawson Looker throws the other way. Vikings getting tricky. Emerald Ridge not going to have that, so the 2-point conversion fails. So with 8:39 to go, and here comes more flags, Troy.
Yeah.
We talk about discipline. We talk about getting chippy. If somebody takes a shot, you got to walk away.
You do. You got to control what you can control, and part of that is just playing the game within the whistle, and it's, you know, hopefully they'll settle down and start focusing on what's important.
We got Big Game Taylor, our photographer tonight, one of the best in the business. And Big Game Taylor, if we could pan over to that Puyallup Viking crowd over there, they are just, I mean, look at this. They're packed in there. It's yellow night. It's homecoming night for ER. It's yellow night. And this is what I love about Friday Night Football, Troy. It's always a good, this is our 4th game, and we've had huge crowds for every game. People talk about the glory days, you know, back in the days. The glory days are now. They're right now.
Yeah, and you know, it's nice to see the stands packed, the band's here, lively, you know, the cheer squads. It's just all those little things that make Friday Night Lights so special.
Well, if you're Torrey Donovan, you didn't draw it up like this. Short kickoff, Puyallup marches down, scores, penalties, you end up deep in your territory, a 15-minute discussion whether it was 3rd down or 4th down. You got to punt it away, more penalties, you have a sideline infraction. Next thing you know, they're on the 5-yard line running it in. Now more penalties after this. What do you do right now? It's not like you can go in at halftime, but you've got to get your guys together and get refocused here.
Well, Frosty Western always talked about the parable of the toilet. You just got to flush it, learn from it, and move on. And Coach Donovan does a great job. They're really resilient. He's a resilient coach, and he'll make sure that message is clear. And I love the fact that, you know, they're staying calm on the sidelines. There's no, you know, craziness going on there. So it's just a matter of the kids just settling down and playing a little football.
Parable of the toilet.
Parable of the toilet.
Just flush it.
Yeah, just flush it. You got to flush it. You got to learn from it. You know, I'll stop right there, Chris.
Okay, all right. Troy half of it. The parable of the toilet.
Western,
well, you mentioned Frosty. You mentioned Frosty, and Frosty had a lot of victories on this field right here as the head coach of the PLU Lutes of the day, one of the best in the business. Emerald Ridge. Been fun to watch some of their former players that you coached. Denzel Boston, Jacob Lane. They'll be taking on number 1 Ohio State tomorrow night. You got Jake Skockle. What a career he had for ER. He's over at Eastern Washington now. Let's see if ER can get the offense going. And not much happening there on the run.
They got a good push there. They got a good push. Just got to hit that hole.
Good push. Just not much there for Trey Robinson. Maybe got a yard on that one. Trey Robinson, number 37. Braden Polino, the quarterback. Nathan Rodriguez Huerta, the freshman, came in and did some good things for the Jags. I'm getting a lot of lessons as a 9th grader. It's not easy to take over as a 9th grader as a quarterback.
It's real difficult.
Braden Polino in the shotgun. He's going to go to the air. Little dump out pass there. It's like Trey Robinson picked up a couple, but the Vikings were all over that.
They swung to the ball for sure.
Emerald Ridge with their black tops and their silver numbers. Very shiny silver numbers there.
Yeah, I like those silver numbers.
Yeah, those are nice.
They look sharp.
So that's going to bring up a 3rd down and long for Emerald Ridge here. And I mentioned the 9th graders on this Emerald Ridge team. They have a 9th grader by the name of Corbin Williams, number 16. Keep an eye on this young man. He is a basketball standout. He caught a touchdown in the first game of the season. He is a big target for Polino. And he was looking for him. He just didn't have a whole lot of time. Corbin Williams running down the right side. And that's going to bring out the punting crew again. And this Viking defense is all over the place, led by number 24, Markel Newell. Markel Newell, I spoke with his parents before the game, Troy. They came up, very proud parents. Hey, make sure you mention Markel, number 3 cornerback in the country right now.
I love it.
These Vikings have some weapons.
Yeah. This is just a special time for just the whole community and parents. And, some will be this will be their last season playing football. So, again, I just appreciate what you guys do at King 5 and just bringing football to the community and to the state for that matter. So, again.
Punt return. Jaden Woodland is everywhere tonight. Jaden Woodland is having a game so far for the Vikings. He's returning punts. He's catching touchdowns. And Coach DJ told me about this young man. He said he's very good, Chris. Keep an eye on him. He is our playmaker, and Coach was not lying.
No, he's quick. He hits it hard, and he runs with the purpose for sure. I love his ability to want to get downfield quick.
And we mentioned Jake Skockle, the former Jag at Eastern Washington. Jaden Woodland just committed this week to Eastern Washington to go play for the Eagles. So congratulations to Jaden Woodland. Parker throwing, Parker finding. That's Jai Mitchell. Mitchell to the 20, to the 10. I think it's coming back, though, Troy. Maybe some holding?
Looks like there's a little hold in there for sure. But, Jay, I tell you right now, he won't have a better teammate than Jake Skockle. I mean, just a great, great kid. And that's what makes him so special, too, is his ability just to be a great leader off the field. So, yeah, I'm excited for him to get over to Eastern Washington and play with Jake.
Jai Mitchell, one of the weapons on this team, came into this game with 15 receptions for 216 yards. That is holding. Lawson Looker, another one of those weapons. He came into the game with 9 catches for 220 yards. He's coming off back-to-back games with touchdowns. Zach McGowan, number 4. Keep an eye on this young man. He is a weapon as well. I got the pleasure to coach his little brother, Riker, who's a good little athlete.
Great athlete.
All right, so first down and 15 for the Vikings. Ball on the 35. Luke Parker throws. Luke Parker has Jai Mitchell again. When in doubt, just run the same play over again and hook up with Mitchell.
Just get it to your playmakers, right? And that's what they're doing right now. They're just trying to spread the field and just get them in open field and let them take off, let them be athletes.
And that's what they're doing, and that is exactly what Puyallup has decided to do. I mentioned this team is 3-0, averaged 41 points a game, only 14 points against. Opened up the season with an impressive 25-19 win over Tumwater. Then defeated Evergreen, went down south to Evergreen, won that game 48-14. Picked up some In-N-Out burgers on the way home. Last week, I thought Skyview was a pretty decent team. Puyallup took care of Skyview 52-10 in week 3. And what's scary, and I've mentioned this, is they're going to move another one of these athletes, that being Luke Parker, to a wide receiver next week when they face off against Sumner. And then you got this young man, this transfer coming in from the Kitsap area, Noah Smith, who's a junior, and I've heard he is a fantastic quarterback. We'll see him next Saturday for the first time. Handoff there to Bailey. Bailey picks up a couple yards, so that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 5.
So this is certainly a big series for ER to get a stop right here.
This is where you need some of those Jeremy Biambongo to step up. Daniel Robertson needs to step up right here. There's some big names there. Kai Norris back there. Joel Gonzalez. Let's see if they can bring some defensive pressure here. Emerald Ridge down early. Offsetting penalties, Troy?
That's right. Yep.
All right, looks like we're going to have offsetting penalties, so things continue to stay a little chippy out there.
Yeah.
3rd down from the 25-yard line for the Vikings.
All right, 3rd down and 6. Chris Egan alongside Troy Hafferty. Puyallup Vikings lead it 12-0. 5:44 to play. First quarter coming in from Carl Sparks Stadium. And looks like it's going to be offsides on Emerald Ridge. And Luke Parker sold that one pretty well.
Yep. It's got to be disciplined. And it's tough when these games are emotional, and you got to settle down a little bit and start thinking and doing those little things right. So, yeah, great job by playing to the situation.
Yeah, Luke Parker with the snap count gets him there. Luke Parker, older brother Dane Parker, pretty good little athlete as well. Wide receiver, played for the Vikings. Now plays on Saturdays, college athlete. Great kid. Handoff there. Brighton trying to get something going. Can't wrap them up, and they bring it. Finally, it takes about 5 to 6 Jaguars, and they bring them down. And another scary fact, Troy, about this Vikings team, if you're Sumner and you're going to be watching this broadcast, is not only do they bring in a fresh quarterback next Saturday, they also have another running back, that being Malcolm Akufo, who was not eligible for tonight's game. But he played for Emerald Ridge last year, so we have a little switch. Running back from ER goes to Puyallup. Quarterback from Puyallup goes to ER. So,
yeah,
it happens nowadays.
It does. And that's you got to deal with those things. And
there's the pitch, and good defensive play right there from Emerald Ridge. A couple guys on the tackle there. Well done. Quentin Gardley getting over there. And how do you approach that as a coach? Because it's happening all over the state. I think I'm not a high school coach, but I've always told folks, focus on the kids you have. Try to keep the kids with your school. Create an environment that keeps them there. But kids are kids, parents are parents. Things are going to move. People are going to move.
Oh, for sure. And and there's different cultures, different environments, and they're looking to go to a place where it's going to be beneficial to them. And it's unfortunate.
Looks like the Vikings may be taking a timeout. And there's our head coach right there. Great shot from Big Game Taylor. Head coach DJ Mims. Last year, I remember he was at Mercer Island, and I just remember the positivity, the energy. And I was talking with one of his assistant coaches, Dane Looker, about DJ Mims. And Dane said this is a guy that came in. He wanted to install a little discipline. He wanted to make sure, they understood that he was in charge, but he has not yelled at these kids at all. And it's all about his philosophy of earning the kid. He wants to earn the kids' respect, so they respect him. He has done that. He did a great job at Mercer Island. This is his first year at Puyallup. And, the other thing he's done, Troy, which you did at Emerald Ridge, he's kept a lot of coaches there and surrounded himself with some pretty good names. We mentioned Dane Looker being one of them. I mean, one of the greatest Vikings of all time is on his coaching staff.
Yeah, and that is certainly attracted to a lot of kids out there for sure. But then again, you have the same thing going on with the ER staff. I mean, just phenomenal guys.
You really do. All right, 3rd down and 11. Emerald Ridge defense needs a big play here. Parker in the shotgun. Parker's going to keep it. I mentioned his athletic ability. Great little run there for Luke Parker. His dad said you could call him Gooey, and his dad is one of those coaches down there on that Viking staff, and he's done a great job as well.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't want to slide right there, Chris.
No, he's a tough kid. He's not a quarterback. He's an athlete. And this kid will be playing on Saturdays one day as well. First and goal. So Luke Parker with a great run picks up the first down. So with 3:31 to go, if you're just joining us, we're still in the first quarter. It's been a long first quarter because we had some officials discussing whether it was a 3rd down or 4th down. Handoff, Brighton taking it right side, and he picks up about 5 to 6 yards, and we've got more flags on the field. Troy Hafferty, we're seeing too much yellow on the field tonight.
Yes, we are. And, and again, the emotion is certainly out there tonight, and that's what makes these rivalry games fun. You got the alpha males wanting to compete, and hopefully they can settle down a little bit and start playing discipline.
Dennis McFadden, one of the coaches over there for the Puyallup Vikings. Andrew Lawrence, not only a great coach, but he's produced, we're going to be hearing from Mike Huard, who produced 3 great quarterbacks. Andrew Lawrence two of his sons were offensive linemen here. One of them now playing for New Mexico, and then he's got a youngster who's in the 8th grade that looks like he's a 12th grader. Remember the name Mason Lawrence, because that's a name we'll be saying next year. He's a 9th grader, Troy. I have a feeling he'll be starting on this Vikings team. He is a mammoth. He is a great kid overall, too.
Well, with the talent out there, that says a lot about who he is.
And, all right, we got a timeout. Once again, the King 5 big game of the week. Week 1, Troy, we were out at Art Crate. GK won a thriller. And then week 2, we had another great big game. It was Bellevue taking on Lake Stevens. Lake Stevens held on to win that one. Last week, we were at Issaquah. Sold-out stadium out there. Issaquah taking on Skyline. Skyline held on at the very end and won that game. And here we are, week 4. Football season moving on. Week 4, you're now in conference games. Take me through the mindset. You've had 3 weeks to look at your team. Now it's all about health and who you need out on the field, right?
Well, they're defining games, and especially early in the season like this where, the conferences are the way they are. They're new this year. So I just love the fact that they're, establishing these games early, these rivalry games early, because it sets the tone, and you don't have to wait till the end of the season. It's like, let's go play football right now.
Yeah, no rest for Puyallup. They get a big game tonight, and then next Saturday right here they'll be welcoming the Spartans from Sumner, the defending 4A state champions. Keith Ross has done a fantastic job. You've had some great battles against Coach Ross over the years, and one of the best in the business down there.
And he's dynamic, and and he's a kid magnet for sure. But that's just also, again, another coach that goes out in the community and does some great things in the community. So again, a lot of great coaches are still coaching, and going back to Coach Mike Huard, he's touched so many lives, and certainly ours. And it's just such a, you go to Coach Erath and what he's done in the Puyallup community as well. So he's done a lot of good for us.
Darren Erath, one of the Vikings' all-time great quarterbacks, one of those 5 head coaches for Emerald Ridge back in the day. Nice little catch right there. Lawson Looker getting up. It takes about 6 Jags to bring him down, but Looker showing a little bit of that athletic ability. Yeah. And if the name Lawson Looker sounds familiar, well, sure, Dane and Amy, his mom and dad, but more importantly, this is the kid that was the point guard for the Puyallup Vikings, made it to the state championship game, had a phenomenal state tournament at the Tacoma Dome for the Puyallup basketball team, a team that will be back this year. They're locked and loaded, but it was so great to see Lawson just playing some great basketball last year and doing it on the football field as well. I love his dad, but he gets his athletic ability from his mom, because his mom's the best.
Hands down.
Hands down. It's all Amy. 3rd and 15. Parker looking, going to the air, and how about that? Lawson Looker put another touchdown on the board.
Yep. I just love how he gives the ball right to the referee. Just a class act right there, and again, just a great family, and rallying around his son.
And you said it, class act. This kid works hard. This is he's got an older brother that played for Rogers, now plays on Saturdays, Dordt University, a top 20 team in the NAIA. Sisters off in Montana doing great things there, one of the great equestrian riders, if you will. And then Lawson just, you know what, phenomenal kid first and foremost.
For sure. Great
athlete, just has a knack for scoring, and this is 3 weeks in a row that Lawson Looker has cashed in for a touchdown. And they're going for 2, Troy, but they're going to be denied there. So, but if you're Puyallup, you're feeling pretty good here in the first quarter. They take an 18-0 lead. You have touchdowns from Bailey. You have a touchdown from Woodland. And now you get a touchdown from Lawson Looker.
And if I'm Coach Donovan, he knows what he's going to be doing. It's not about the scoreboard right now. It's 0-0 in his mind, and we got to play to the next play. And the scoreboard will take care of itself down the road. So again, it's feeling flushing that last play, whether it's good or bad, and then getting on to the next play and executing and being disciplined.
And that's what I'm seeing down there. I'm looking at the sidelines as we're seeing the Puyallup student section, but I was glancing down at the Emerald Ridge sidelines, and Troy, exactly what you were saying is what I was seeing. I was seeing a lot of coaches going to players, having little moments with them. It wasn't yelling. It was pumping them up, kind of trying to keep them fired up. And let's be honest, it's it's 18-0. It's anybody's ball game. There's a lot of football to be played here.
Sure. Yeah, you go back to when they're going to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and they bounce back. They're a resilient coaching staff, and they bring that to their team as well.
All right, kick into the end zone. Thank goodness high school has not adopted the NFL kickoff rules because, it helped the Seahawks get a win on Thursday night. But Troy, I need a algorithm to figure out what the new kickoff rules are.
Yeah, I don't know it, and I don't think they know either. So I don't feel so bad because if they don't know and we don't know, we're in the same boat. So we'll just keep rowing.
And surprise, surprise, another flag on the field. The big game brought to you by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you, and can't thank them enough. Wicked Pie Pizza, by the way, brought us some pizzas, Troy. Downtown Puyallup.
Delicious.
Love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I miss Chris Johnson and the old Sparks Deli.
You weren't supposed to say that because my wife's watching. I got to be careful with that eating.
We use a special camera, so it
okay.
filters off the weight,
Perfect.
so you look
I
beautiful.
Like Thank you, Chris.
Well, Emerald Ridge, once again, deep in their own territory.
Yeah, and those penalties, continue to hurt and set them back. So we just, got to get settled and start playing that next play.
Chris Egan, Troy Halfday coming in from the King 5 big game of the week. Polino looks, Polino throws, and that is Zab Zinkner with the reception. Only picks up a couple yards on the play. Will Lorenz for Puyallup was there on the tackle. Will Lorenz, Markel Newell, a couple great DBs back there for the Vikings. Jaden Woodland doesn't get much rest. He'll play offense, he'll play defense. Jai Mitchell also out there. This is a very loaded up Vikings team.
Yeah, and they're rallying into the ball real quick. And they're keeping everything in front of them, and then they just rally.
Hayden Dieter sets it, snaps it. Polino looking, throwing.
Upfield.
And that should be enough for a first down right there.
Points pass complete to Ziegler out of the left flat. Good for a first down for the Jags.
That is a first down for the Jags right there.
See, it's those little victories right there that that will add up over time.
I believe that was Hunter Rustler with the reception for the Jags. Nice little catch. This is just little by little. Little by little is what you need to do.
That's all you need.
All right. First quarter, 31 seconds to play. 18-0. Puyallup leads it. Emerald Ridge in their black tops, black bottoms, gray helmets. Handoff. And the Vikings are all over it right there. Will Lorenz with another tackle. Old Malachi, big old Malachi was in there, number 57 with the tackle as well, helping out the Cos.
Yeah, Puyallup's doing a great job of getting, their D-line moving, running some stunts. And, it's hard to get hands on those guys. They're athletic, they're strong, and they're big. And so, again, it's just trying to figure out what Puyallup's doing up front and then, establishing a routine to where we can get, those little victories, one play at a time.
All right, so that will be the end of the first quarter. Puyallup Vikings on the road tonight, facing off against Emerald Ridge. It's their homecoming night, and so far it's been a little bit of purple rain as the Vikings lead it after quarter number one. 18-0 is your score. We'll be back for the second quarter.
The big game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Carl Sparks Stadium in downtown Puyallup, Washington, the heart of the valley, just a stone's throw away from the Washington State Fair. I'm Chris Egan, King 5 Sports. Troy Haffaday, former Emerald Ridge coach, former Puyallup Viking player, joining me tonight in the booth. We'll also be joined later in the second quarter with former Vikings wide receiver Brett the Hitman McDaniel. Mike Huard will join us in the third quarter, and then Troy Haffaday will be back here in the fourth quarter because I have a feeling Huard's going to talk a lot about the Vikings. But Emerald Ridge trying to move the ball, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. Going to have enough there for the first down, Troy?
I think so. That's what they needed right there.
And Emerald Ridge, got to give credit to Torrey Donovan and his coaching staff. They've done a great job. I'm down 18-0. Chippy game. You got a lot on the line tonight. Rivals. Could have been easy. Throw some helmets. Get upset.
Yep.
Turn it off. That's not what they're doing right now. He's got them back on the field going strong.
Yeah, that's what I love about Torrey. He's one of the most loyal guys you ever meet. But he plays calm, and he's a great guy that keeps his head straight. So, I mean, those kids are blessed to have him as a coach.
All right, first down at 10. Little dump off pass right there. Picking up a first down, Trey Robinson. Great little move there from Trey. Makes the catch, makes the move, gets some yards, and here comes the Jags.
So you get a little momentum going, and, good things happen. Just, stay disciplined now.
Polino remaining calm and cool. Nice little lofty pass there to Trey Robinson, and another first down for Emerald Ridge.
Yep. Just got to keep the drive alive, and, again, just don't do anything that's going to hurt themselves.
All right, first down at 10, second quarter of play. The Vikings lead it 18-0. Emerald Ridge, 1-2, trying to get back on the win track. Won their first game of the season against Kentwood, then lost a tough one to Bethel, then to GK. Handoff is made, and oh my, some big boys from Puyallup are right there, and there's old Malachi.
Yeah,
that's something, Troy. He hits me, my ribs. I'm broken. My ribs are broken.
That was a great form talker right there. That's exactly the way we teach it.
All right, here we go. 18-0. Emerald Ridge trying to move things. Second down and 10. 10:08 to play here. Braden Polino. Polino scrambling, looking, and he is brought down there. Big old sack, and Puyallup bringing the pressure.
Yeah, Chris, that certainly hurts when we get a sack like that when we had momentum going.
Momentum was on ER's side, and all of a sudden the defense has just stepped it up. Some of the big boys. That's a freshman, by the way, for Puyallup there. Old KT, as they call him. Does not look like a freshman at all. They got some boys down there that know how to bring the heat.
I don't know what's in the water, man.
Well, it's not the Puyallup River, I'll tell you that.
That's a little muddy there.
Yeah, it's a little muddy. It's a little brown.
Yeah, it's a little brown.
All right, big third down here for ER. Needing something. Polino scrambling. He's going to run this one. Picks up a nice little run right here. He's still going to be about 12 yards short of the first down, but will there be any flags? A little extra tackle there, maybe, Troy.
Yeah, that was a little. Yeah, it was a little late, but refs are doing the best job they can do. So you got to keep playing. We can't control the refs.
Fourth down, you're down 18-0 here. 8:50 to go. Do you punt it?
Absolutely, and he goes back to the field position. Puyallup's been on ER's side the whole night. So again, if we can establish the field, it's a fumble, it's an interception, it's something that can happen that can immediately turn the momentum of the game. Okay,
Coach Donovan probably didn't need advice from Coach Haffaday, but that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to punt the ball away. And here comes the mighty Vikings. And that's Brighton Bailey. Brighton Bailey, 40, 30, 20, 10, touchdown! Brighton Bailey. Playmaker, punt return, 70 yards. Welcome to the King 5 Sports Prep Top Plays of the Week. Brighton Bailey Holy cow.
They executed that really well. Their blocking was great, and he came back to the side where he needed to get back to, and there was nobody there.
Do we see any flags on the field, Troy?
Oh, looks
like there is one. So the official said, hang on, Mr. Egan, don't make it a top 10 play quite yet because this one is coming back. And sure enough, we have holding on the Puyallup Vikings, so that one will be coming back.
That will. Now, the Huard needs to take this opportunity to execute and take advantage of the situation right here. They got a big break, and so now it's time to hopefully step up the D a little bit and make a stop.
Okay, 8:08 to play. Big turn of events there. Brighton Bailey went 70 yards on a punt return. It comes back because of a holding call. But right now the Emerald Ridge defense could be a little tired. They've been out in the field quite a bit, but they're going to need to come through with a big stop here because Luke Parker has a lot of weapons to choose from. Vikings with trips to the left. Lawson Looker by himself on the right side. And it looks like the Vikings want to talk things over, and they're going to take a timeout. And it is a timeout. DJ Mims wants to talk it over. 18-0. Puyallup takes the timeout. They're second, I believe, of the first half. We mentioned some of the Puyallup greats. We've been kind of sprinkling them in. You obviously a linebacker in the day, one of the best in the business. I'm going to begin, though, when I think of Puyallup football. I know a lot of people are going to throw the Huard name out there and things like that. I'm going to begin with Mark Ledbetter.
Oh, my.
Mark Ledbetter, I believe, was one of the first to play professional. I think he played in the USFL, played for San Antonio. That was a name growing up as a kid. I remember as a youngster as being one of the first great players coming out of this area.
Yeah, he was Matt Ledbetter is one of my friend's older brother. He played at WSU, and what a career did he have. And, again, he was the guy that I always looked up to, walking to the fair and seeing big old Mark Ledbetter out there. I mean, he was special for sure.
He was special. Another one of the special ones, we're going to give you a break for the rest of the second quarter to get a drink and talk with some kids. We're going to bring in former Viking wide receiver, but I want you back in the fourth quarter. Will you be back in the fourth quarter with me?
You know, Brett's going to do a great job, but I'll be back.
You're back, okay.
But I tell you right now, you got Brett McDaniel, who's an amazing guy, but again, he's one of those community guys out there that does a great job for all of us. So again, just a pleasure being here.
Troy Halfpenny, don't say goodbye because you'll be back in the fourth quarter. But we're going to welcome into the booth right now former Vikings wide receiver Brett McDaniel, get his thoughts on some things he's been seeing. Brett McDaniel played on one of those King Bowl teams, two of those King Bowl teams, 1991 and 1992. Brett McDaniel now joins us in the booth. Troy Halfpenny, always great to hear from the coach. And here he goes again, Brighton Bailey with another big carry and a first down. And we welcome him in. He's wearing Husky hat, Husky shirt. He's fired up for tomorrow's game. Brett McDaniel, it's good to see you, my friend.
How you doing, Chris? It's good to be with the Prince of Puyallup tonight, and I would have been here a little earlier, but I had to stop off at Hoagie's Corner for a cheesy British.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
And, I have one in my bag for you, by the way. So
well, I appreciate. What are you seeing from the Vikings right now? You're a former Viking receiver. You played on a team with some pretty good athletes, a good quarterback. This is a loaded Puyallup team right now.
I just put my glasses on to get a real good sense of their size. And is it just me, Chris, or do they look like almost like a Division I offensive line, defensive line? They're just huge up front.
They have some big boys up front. Nice little tackle right there for Emerald Ridge. Elijah Wallace getting in and getting some pressure. That's a loss of 2. They got the big guys up front, and that obviously makes things a little easier for Luke Parker and these wide receivers. But this is like old school Puyallup football, the King Bowl teams, when you had 4 to 5 wide receiver sets out there.
We did? I don't.
You don't remember that?
Well, I pushed for that a lot, Chris. Coach Huard liked tight ends, and we ran a lot of tight end sets. Once in a while, we had a trips set where we had
not
three
a lot
on
of
the field.
trips. Okay,
not a lot of trips.
I just remember you making a lot. And Emerald Ridge needed a break, and they get one right there. Interception off of a tipped ball, and that is number 12, Jeremy BM Bongo with the interception for Emerald Ridge. But hang on, there's another flag on the field. But BM Bongo, right place, right time. We'll see if this holds. Troy Halford talked about this game. It's a game of momentum. Things can shift. It looks like it's all Puyallup, and that is going to be on Puyallup, so the interception will hold. So just when you think Puyallup's going to run away with this, Brett,
well, you got
little momentum.
You got 6:48 still. You can make a little momentum here before halftime, and going to halftime feeling a little confident coming out in the second half. And so this could be interesting to see if ER now can capitalize.
How tough is it, former Vikings player, not to get chippy in these games, in these rivalry games? Because we're seeing a little bit of that down here tonight.
I think it's all in fun. I think most of these guys off the field are really good friends, and when you're on the field, right, it's between the lines. It's a rivalry game, so it's to be expected.
And another flag is on the field, in the backfield, which is usually a holding call. Braden Polino with a scramble, not much going there. This Vikings defense is all over the field. And sure enough, it is a holding on Emerald Ridge.
I think, Chris, a lot of your viewers probably wondered this. You were a heck of a basketball player, obviously accomplished tennis player, now pickleball phenom. Why no football? I know Coach Huard recruited you hard. I know he was after you. He saw the athleticism. What happened?
Here's the history, and this is the true story. 1987, the Puyallup School District, which has junior high still to this date, was allowing junior high kids to come up as ninth graders to play high school sports. Not many kids had ever tried it. Well, 1987, I decided, why don't I go try to play on the tennis team? I became the first, and this is in the Puyallup historic books, the first ninth grader to ever play a varsity sport in the Puyallup School District. And I played varsity tennis, which was in the fall, so tennis was going well. I would have loved to play for Mike Huard. Damon Huard was the quarterback, wide receiver Mike Boxham back in the day. But unfortunately, tennis was pretty good, so I stuck with tennis, Brad. Well, so that's the story.
It worked out. Unfortunately, I think you might have been the difference maker to a King Bowl run. When Coach Huard gets up here a little bit later, I would like you guys
say
to.
That, right?
I think so.
Well, you were a member of two King Bowl teams, 1991 and 1992. What was so special about those Puyallup teams that made those runs?
Well, obviously the 87 team, 89 team, 88, right? Nice play. Move the chains.
Good little pickup there. Noah Jones with the catch for Emerald Ridge.
Those years were special because we grew up, right, going to the games, idolizing the kids before us. I know this goes for a lot of towns, and you grew up wanting to be one of those guys, and I think it just bred itself. And then for us, was listening to Def Leppard and AC/DC on a Friday or Saturday night in the summertime at Egan Junior High and running routes. And a little bit different time, but you really wanted to be like the guy in front of you, and it just kind of grew.
And it grew into something special. Yourself, Mario Casello, Darren Erath put together some good teams. And, oh, man, he had his man over there.
Like that.
That was number 23 for Emerald Ridge. He was looking for. Just overthrew him just a bit right there.
Just a bit. I couldn't quite tell if they're in cover two. It looked like he was trying to shoot that seam there, but good attempt. Take a little off that next time. He's got a completion there. Fourth down here, Chris, and 11. I like to see him aggressive here.
You got to believe they're going to go for it here. Down 18-0, 5:45 to play in the second quarter from Spark Stadium. Beautiful night in Puyallup. Kickoff temperature about 66 degrees. Washington State Fair, Puyallup Fair, whatever you want to call it, is over. So the scent of scones and elephant ears no longer in the air. Puyallup brings the heat, and Puyallup with another sack. Malachi bringing the heat. Mikey Pulalasi was in there as well. Will Lorenz. I mean, they've got bodies flying all over the field for this Puyallup team that just seems to bend a little bit, but they are not breaking tonight.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate for ER right now, but I really do like a lot of the athleticism you're seeing out there. They got some guys that look like they just need a little more experience, but maybe even looking to get that quarterback outside the pocket a little bit, relieve some of that pressure, get him out on the edge.
All right, so Viking ball. They lead at 18-0. Intercepted on his last play. Luke Parker keeps this one, and Luke Parker picks up 12 yards, and we've seen him now with 2 runs tonight, and both of them over 10 yards. This is a very good athlete. His brother, playing collegiately right now. Dane and Luke can do it all. He's he's a wide receiver. He plays safety, can play quarterback as well. Kind of like you back in the day.
Right. The difference is when I caught a ball, I got caught from behind by number 75. 20 yards later, these kids tend to outrun people now, so it's a little different time. These guys are so athletic and big and strong these days.
All right, Parker throws, finds Jai Mitchell. Mitchell picks up about 6 to 7 yards. Josiah Denmark there to help him up. This Vikings team all over the field. I asked Dane, who do I look out for? He said it's pretty easy with our offense. Just look for 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay.
Is that how Puyallup does it? Just put the receivers 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4?
It makes it a lot
easier. Makes it easier?
Definitely. I don't remember it being like that, but I do like that. That's a nice strategy.
Well, look at this. Not only we got 4 to the left side. There they all are. I mean, this is – and Parker's going to keep it right up the middle. Parker, 20, 10, down on the 8-yard line. They spread the field and let Luke Parker do his magic, and that's another first down for Puyallup.
Really creative play call right there, right? Spread everyone out. Wait till they go, and then just run. You got an athlete like that kid. My goodness.
How much you miss these Friday nights?
Well,
I mean, it was a long time ago, but
I think we all miss it, right? I mean, we all come back to the games, and like you said, the smell of the Friday night and the lights and the whole thing, it's just special.
Parker again, and Parker is in there for the touchdown. Luke Parker putting the Vikings on his shoulders on that one and just running straight. There's no secret. We're going to just run it right up the middle. We're going to use our big boys to block. Stop us if you can. And Emerald Ridge on that series could not. Luke Parker, a one-man wrecking crew with his offensive line leading the way. And just like that, Puyallup leads it now 24-0. And they are showing the rest of the state of Washington, the rest of the SPSL conference, we could be one of the teams to beat right now, Brett. And I've seen some good I've seen Sumner. I've seen Lake Stevens. I've seen GK. This Puyallup team has the eye test, and they're showing it on the field tonight.
I had heard that this team was special. I have not seen it. I was at GK last night, got a chance to see them up close. I have seen Sumner up close, and you are exactly right. Puyallup looks to be the part. They look to be as good or better than I thought, that's for sure. So it's kind of fun to see. When Coach Huard comes back, I do want you to ask him why we didn't, throw the ball a little bit more. I think back and some of these stats now these kids are getting. It's a little unfair, Chris. This whole spread stuff.
You didn't think you had a chance of that, huh?
No, we had to beg our coach for pass plays, and or act really upset. Maybe get a pass play from time to time. But
interesting stuff. I honestly want to get your serious take on this one, because when you talk about Puyallup football, you obviously go to Billy Joe Hobart, led the team to the King Bowl Championship 1987, had a great athlete in Danny Thurston by his side. Tom Gallagher, Steve Wolf on the offensive line, Robbie Roscoe tight end. I could go down through the list. And then you hear the three names: Damon Huard, Brock Huard, Luke Huard. I mean, no question, these are three incredible athletes. Luke Huard now a coach at USC. Damon and Brock both played in the NFL. Damon has 2 Super Bowl titles. In Brock's career at the University of Washington, played with the Seahawks. I mean, what they've done is phenomenal. But lost in the shuffle there is a young man from Western Washington University, from the North Hill of Puyallup, by the name of Darren Erath, that led the Vikings to not 1 but 2 state championship games, correct?
Correct, and Darren is a heck of a football coach, too. Still at Blue Junior High, doing his thing with Marcus Yoder, the legends that they are. But, Darren, he does get a little overshadowed, rightfully so. We had 2 or 3 of the best quarterbacks maybe in the history of the state, let alone Puyallup High School, and Darren was in the mix there and led us to 2 championships, and also unknown, he led Western Washington to its only national championship appearance as well, playing quarterback for Western Washington, and ironically lost to Sioux Falls. Can you name the key player for the Sioux Falls team that year? You might know him. He was
Kalen DeBoer?
Kalen DeBoer, exactly, and so a pretty cool story. Darren was a heck of a guy, still is, and you know him well, and he did a lot for Emerald Ridge football to get them rolling with the last guy, Mr. Halfaday. So it's cool to see. And what was it, a year ago, 2 years ago, they were playing in the state semifinals.
State semifinals, back in 2022, I believe. In 2023, they made a nice run as well. Jake Skocko leading the charge back then. I think they lost to Kennedy Catholic if my prep history facts are still in my brain. But we'll see here, Brett. What do you do? 3:29 to go. You're down 25-0.
How you throw?
You were moving the ball a little bit last time.
Yeah, I love all the spread. I just miss getting guys outside the edges sometimes in games like this where they're so big and strong up front. Everything's going to have to be really quick for ER at this point. Get it out of his hands. But you got to go for it, right? You're down 25 before half. You need to get a score here if you can.
They told me about number 51. He's a freshman. They said, Chris, just call him KT. Katona Tupoa. He is a freshman, and he is a big boy. I mean, he is bringing the heat tonight. Number 51. These are both young teams, but just surprised at the size of some of these ninth graders. Just mammoth, Brett.
They're mammoth. It's different. These kids train year-round, Chris. We train for 3 weeks. It's a little, it's a little different now. And I got to name drop one last guy because I'm going to see his 2 boys tomorrow night. Okay. Billy Hatchett, one of the greatest linemen to come through Puyallup.
Yes.
He had the mullet. I got the mullet wig for tonight. Got 2 amazing kids starting for UW tomorrow.
Polino throws. Ball got tipped right there. He was looking for Zab Zankner, and Zankner has 1 catch. And I mentioned Zankner is a great weapon for Emerald Ridge. Had some big plays in the big game of the week last year for Emerald Ridge. They got a nice playoff win over Skyline. Zankner came into this game with 297 receiving yards, but the Vikings secondary, Jai Mitchell, Brighton Bailey, they've been Will Lorenz. They are doing a great job back there right now, and it looks like Emerald Ridge is going to have to punt again.
Did I hear you say earlier, did Lawson Looker score a touchdown earlier?
Lawson Looker had the 3rd touchdown of the night.
Is he faster than Dane?
Well, there's the punt, and Bailey already returned one that came back because of a holding call. Lawson Looker has speed. We saw what he could do on the basketball court for Puyallup, and he's had 3 games in a row with a touchdown now, Brett.
The cool thing about Lawson, and shout out to Dane and Amy Looker and the family, the Looker family, I ran into him at a dentist office of all places, right? You'd think he'd be nervous, a little worried about seeing Dr. Kai and getting a filling.
Dr. Kai Malding?
Yeah, Dr. Kai Malding. And instead, you know what? He asked me about my day, how you doing, interested in us, and just such high character kid. It's cool to see kids like that really excelling in multiple sports still.
Well, and you are a successful coach, administrator, teacher, and as somebody that interviews kids on this weekly show called the Prep Zone that we do. And once again, it's Parker with a carry. He's just picking up a lot of all-purpose yards. That would be my, for all the kids watching this broadcast, maybe you're not watching it live, maybe you're watching the replay, is exactly what you said. Eyes up, communicate, get your eyes out of the phone, put the phone away, and talk a little bit. And I'm actually impressed. We've got an ER crew that's behind us. These are future broadcasters. They're taking the time, Brett.
Touchdown, Chris.
Touchdown right there.
Nice throw.
Great throw. And that is a touchdown for Puyallup. That is Josiah Denmark. Luke Parker with the throw, Denmark with the catch, and we are seeing all the weapons tonight for Puyallup as they take a 31-0 lead.
These kids catch with their hands too, Chris, which is kind of cool to see as well. They're not catching it with their bodies. The hands are out. They're seeing it, the triangle as we call it, all the way to their body. Nicely done. Doing
a great job. And in fact, I was giving a compliment to the ER students here tonight watching and learning, interested in broadcast journalism. My apologies, I can't talk to them more because I'm having to do the play-by-play. I wish I could chat with them.
They are nice kids. They're very polite. I can see. Yeah. Nicely done.
But that's all. That's my advice to the athletes watching. Is just if you see an administrator, a parent, just give them a handshake, open a door, just be polite, just be good people.
And it's
simple.
And it's really hard, right? You watch on television, you see different things playing out on the professional level and sometimes in the Division I level, and these kids see that, and it's just so nice to see when kids are different. It's kindness and looking coaches in the eye and saying thank you to the people that helped them along the way. It's a new skill almost now, and when you have that skill, it's the separator, and you hear from coaches all the time, we're looking for that. We're looking for team guys that are believing we more than me.
Well, and take us through a little bit of that, because you played for Puyallup High, but you've spent some time at different schools, and one of those schools being Sumner High School. Kick is up and the kick is good. So with 2:15 to go, The Vikings now lead it 32-0 over Emerald Ridge. Homecoming night for Emerald Ridge. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about. Still some football to be playing, but Brett McDaniel joined us in the booth. And Brett, I was talking about you were at Sumner High School, and they've done a great job down there, I think, of that, of leadership and these young students being great leaders down there.
Yeah, and you know what, it all started, and we were struggling at Sumner, and our biggest motto was really believe in who we do have and not worry about who we didn't have or who was leaving, and really commit ourselves to being the best that we could be for the kids that were there and honor those kids and work really hard with what we had. And through that experience, you give them an opportunity, you really believe in them and love on them over time, and you build those relationships. You start to build that momentum wherever you are. So for all the coaches trying the quick fix or doing those things, I just highly recommend really believe in who you do have and not worry about who you don't have or who's leaving or who's coming, because the world is so different now. And just whoever's there, and love on them. Give them everything you can, because we all want our kids to have a great experience, right? I mean, that's ultimately what I want for my son, and I know you want for your kids, is to really believe or love the school that they play for, regardless of wins and losses. Just bleed, those colors that they're at school with.
And we're seeing that, and we're seeing a lot. It's tough nowadays because the transfer rule, it allows kids to make this move, and we saw over the last year a lot of kids making that move. And where do they see it from? Well, the college ranks. And I mean, 10 years ago, we didn't even know what a transfer portal was. And now there's thousands of kids in this college transfer portal every year, and now we're seeing kids moving from different high schools across the state of Washington. But I love your advice. And that's not only, Brett, I think, not only for the coaches, that's got to be for the parents and the boosters at those schools too. Like, don't worry about who's not here. Focus on the kids that are at the school.
And I think we do get caught up in that, right? Where everyone's talking about who left and who's coming. And I feel really bad for the kids that are there and who've committed 4 years of their life to one place and want to be a part of something special. So, yeah, that's always been my advice, and it's worked for us, and I really do believe it. And that's why we did it at Puyallup. You became friends with those guys. You weren't going to let them down. They were part of who you were, and they were part of your everyday life. You ate lunch with them. Remember the Puyallup lunch? What was your favorite lunch? The 2 hot dog lunch. 2 hot dogs you got. Nowadays, you only get 1 hot dog.
I'm gonna admit there was a period in my life where I'd get 10 chocolate chip cookies and a malted malt shake. I'm not even sure there was any protein in that at all. But
remember when Puyallup made the mistake of letting us have off-campus lunches?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. There was a all you could eat pizza on Thursdays, I think.
Yeah.
If you had leadership, you could go for 90 minutes and have pizza and come back.
Well, there they are. The visiting Vikings rarely sit over on those sidelines, but this is Spark Stadium, home to the Jags, home to the Rogers Rams and the Puyallup Vikings. And nice crowd over there, students in their yellow. They've had plenty to cheer about. This is a school that has produced state baseball championships. They had a nice basketball run last year, always a very good softball team. The football team, some say this could be one of the best football teams we've seen in a long time at Puyallup, and so far they look very impressive. Up 32-0 here in the second quarter. Polino looking, doesn't have a lot of time, scrambling and throwing. Hooks up with Noah Jones, and Jones picks up about 5 yards on the play.
Nice play. Very elusive by that quarterback. You can see some things with this ER team. It's just they're just so overwhelmed right now on the line. And as you know, games are won and lost at the line of scrimmage. And Puyallup definitely has that taken care of right now.
Yeah, KT, Mikey T, and Malachi just bring the heat on every single play. And Braden Polino has had not a lot of time to sit back and enjoy life back there.
No, it reminds me of Darren Erath at Edgemont Junior High in 1988. Heck of a quarterback, but Chad Eberhardt was his lineman, I think, and he weighed about 125 pounds. Ferrucci Junior High just came in there and just blew him out.
I believe Casey Eberhardt may be a motivational speaker right now.
There he is, yeah.
And great family from the North Hill. Dad was a veterinarian, I believe, up on the North Hill.
Yeah.
Producer Aiden getting more than he wanted to on information from the 253. But what a pleasure to be here. Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you, the big game sponsor. Week 1, it was GK over O'Day. Week 2, Lake Stevens knocked off Bellevue. Week 3, Skyline took out Issaquah Dandy. It's our first game that's kind of getting out of hand a little bit. Still a little time, though. 1:30, Torrey Donovan and the Jags would love to get something on the board here before the half.
I want them to, too. You know, everyone here wants to see a competitive game, and we understand things like this happen sometimes. Momentum as a young teenager, it's hard to overcome. I think that reset at halftime will do them well. One thing I do want to mention, Chris, I don't know if you've seen ER's basketball team lately, but I'm going to tell you right now, Pat Mullen, he's got a squad that I'm going to call right now is going to be contending for a state championship this year, along with Puyallup. Puyallup obviously is returning most of their guys. We got 2 incredible basketball programs out there, too.
Yeah, Pat Mullen has done a phenomenal job as a basketball coach for the years. I believe it was at Bethel before ER, correct?
Correct. Won a state championship at Bethel, and one of the good ones.
All right, punt is up in the air. And that was Cody McFadden. I believe Cody McFadden's dad played for Puyallup back in the day. Not positive on that, but I believe so. And I believe Dennis McFadden, you remember the name?
You know, I don't, Chris.
I've got too many names of him in my head,
Brett. A lot of names. Gabe Owens.
It's hard enough just to focus on the Mariners, Brett. American League West champs, first time since 2001. I mean, magical time going on in Seattle right now. The Seahawks are 3-1. The Mariners are going to the playoffs. I mean, what a time to be a sports fan in the Pacific Northwest.
Well, think of our kids. They've never seen it, right? I mean, was it 24 years? It's so exciting for everyone.
All right. Parker, plenty of time. Parker finds Brighton Bailey. Bailey shakes one tackle. He's not going to shake a second tackle.
Pass goes to number 21. Britt Bailey.
You know, I know your 2 friends on Puck Sports would love this, but what about an upset tomorrow with the Huskies? Well, would that complete the perfect week of Seattle sports?
Well, what's interesting is this is what I love about high school sports. We're watching 2 teams, and we never know where these kids are going to go, but 4 years ago, we were here, and I was watching a young man by the name of Denzel Boston and Jacob Lane do their thing, and now they're starters on this UW team, and that's going to be a sack for Emerald Ridge. Luke Parker hasn't gone down much tonight. He does right there. Great defensive pressure there for, I believe that was Elijah Wallace with a nice play for Emerald Ridge.
Very nice play, and a timely play before the half to hopefully get Puyallup off the field for the sake of ER, maybe get one last chance. How many timeouts do we got for ER?
ER has 2 timeouts remaining, still. 1 left for Puyallup. 32-0 your score. Just to kind of point how we got there, it was Jaden Woodland had a touchdown for the Vikings. They got good field position, then Brighton Bailey punched one in, and the Law Dog, as I call him, Lawson Looker with a touchdown, and then Luke Parker with a great little run down the field, and he made his way down the middle of the field for a touchdown. And then the third one going to, I believe, Josiah Denmark with a nice catch in the back of the end zone. Jeremiah B.M. Bongo had an interception that looked like it was going to help get momentum back for Emerald Ridge, but they just couldn't get anything going. Brett McDaniel, 30 seconds left in the second quarter. We thank you for everything you've done over the years, helping out kids. Any thoughts? The mic is yours to all these parents and kids listening right now.
Well,
give us some words of wisdom.
At the end of the day, right, all of our kids, whether they make it pro or whether they don't or they're done with high school, they all end up in the same place, right? They're back with us, and they're normal people in society. And I say, enjoy the ride with sports, but let's not get carried away. It's an opportunity for them to grow as people. And we got to remind ourselves at the end of the day, in 20 years, 15 years, they're still going to be coming over for, family gatherings, and they're going to have real jobs. And all this will go away someday, and what you want left is great memories. You want to be proud of how you were as a parent. You want to be proud of how you acted as an athlete, and really, really remind yourself of those profiles and character, and really center yourself on that. Let sports help you with that, And it's okay to get chewed out once in a while by a coach. It's good. It's part of the process. And not to flip out too much about that when that happens. The kids I got on the most were the ones I loved so much, and I wanted so much for them. And in our society today, sometimes kids get a little confused on that. So you got to build those relationships. But go have fun, enjoy the journey, and really remind yourself what this is all about. High school sports is just supposed to be fun, and it's about community coming together and enjoying it.
Well said. Brett McDaniel, former Viking wide receiver star, played in 2 King Bowl teams, went on to coach a lot of great teams, one of the great administrators in the state of Washington. some words of wisdom. And it's funny you mentioned it's okay to be yelled at, because I think back, I celebrated my 25th anniversary at King 5 TV this year. I think back to week 1 at King 5 TV. Week number 1, Paul Sylvie wasn't happy with an edit I made. We're in the hallways of the King, and Paul Sylvie is somewhat screaming at me about what got on the air. And it wasn't anything bad. It was just, there's a way when you get to King 5 how you do things and you do it right. And the edit wasn't right. And later on that day, he said, I do that because I care. I believe you have a bright future here. And if I wouldn't have said anything, that means I don't care about you at all. And I'm just like, whatever happens. But I want you to be good. I want you to be special. And I still remember that day to this. It's like, yeah, it's okay to get yelled. It's okay to admit you've made a mistake, and you learn from it and you get better. And so some great advice from you, Brett. It's always a pleasure to see you. Can't thank you enough for everything you do. So
back
thank
at you, big dog. Back at you, and thanks for the opportunity to be here. And we'll talk again soon. I did bring you a cheesy British.
Oh, you are the best.
It's from 7-Eleven, but it's nonetheless, it's close.
Hoagie's Corner, one of the great places. It is halftime here from Spark Stadium. It's been all Puyallup in the first half. They lead it 32-0. Coming up at halftime, a special homecoming show. The Emerald Ridge dance team will be out there, and we will be back for the third quarter from Carl Spark Stadium. Legendary football coach Mike Huard on his way into the booth. We'll hear from Mike after the homecoming halftime celebration. Enjoy, everybody. We'll be right back.
The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.
Welcome, Jag Nation, to our 2025 Homecoming Halftime Show. My name is Ed Crow, and I'm the proud principal here at Emerald Ridge High School. We are all very excited that you can be here tonight as we recognize our homecoming court as well as our newly recognized class of 2025 Hall of Fame inductees. Last year, we started a new tradition at Emerald Ridge with our inaugural class in the Emerald Ridge Hall of Fame. As we move into our second quarter century as a school, we want to continue to celebrate the amazing humans who have walked our halls. Earlier today, we hosted this year's Emerald Ridge High School Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We recognize members from 4 categories. We have distinguished staff who had a profound impact on the lives of Jaguar students, a distinguished athlete who excelled in our Emerald Ridge athletics department, distinguished alum who has gone on to grand achievements outside of their time at Emerald Ridge, and a community contributor who are not an alumni or faculty, but who have had a positive impact on the Emerald Ridge community. Before we recognize this amazing group of Jaguars, can I first have all of the Jaguar alums here for homecoming please stand up and be recognized as part of the homecoming celebration. Welcome back to our Jaguars. And now it is my honor to announce the inaugural class, the second class of the Emerald Ridge High School Hall of Fame. First up, in our alumni category, we recognize today Quinn Walcott from the class of 2005. Quinn is unable to be with us today because he is on assignment as a Major League umpire. He began his professional journey as a 19-year-old umpiring in the Northwest League, and he worked his way to a Major League debut in 2013. From that debut to full-time promotion in the Major League Baseball, it only took him 1 year, and he has been umpiring in the big league since 2014. He has umpired professionally in 5 different countries, has been selected for work in the All-Star Game, the World Baseball Classic, and as a home plate umpire in the 2023 World Series. Congratulations, Quinn Walcott. The first of our 2 distinguished staff members recognizing today is Sarah Seifer. Mrs. Seifer taught pre-calculus, AP Calc, and leadership. Although a great instructor, she was truly known for the relationships that she built with her students. From her annual AP Calculus shirts for her students to being at the door to shake hands with every student, every day, Ms. Seifer was constantly working to make her students feel a connection to Emerald Ridge. In 2014, Mrs. Seifer developed a rare form of lung cancer, but she continued teaching and inspiring Jaguar students until she tragically passed away later that year. Congratulations to Ms. Seifer and her family. Our second distinguished faculty member here on the track with me is Mariano Roy C. Leon Guerrero, or more commonly known at Emerald Ridge as Mr. LG. Prior to getting into education, Mr. LG served in the U.S. Army for 26 years, and after leaving the 75th Ranger Regiment as a Hall of Fame member of the U.S. Rangers, he became a school counselor and worked at Emerald Ridge from the school's opening until his retirement in 2022. Countless Jaguar alums talk about how caring and compassionate he was, and many count LG as a key reason for them getting to graduation. In addition to his work as a counselor, LG was also the longtime advisor for the National Honor Society and the staff lead for our exchange students. Making students from all parts of the world feel comfortable at Emerald Ridge was a particular superpower of LG. Congratulations on your Hall of Fame induction. This year's community contributor is Mike Tavern, affectionately known as Papa Tav in our theater department. Mr. Tavern has been volunteering at Emerald Ridge for over 14 years. He mentors students in the stagecraft class, and he helps design our sets for our theatrical productions. During shows, he helps with sound and has given up many Saturdays leading up to productions, helping students put the finishing touches on sets and backdrops. Papa Tav loves being able to support his son, our own Mr. Tavern, in the theater experience. Congratulations, Mr. Tavern. And finally, we have Kylie Marshall Whitehill. She was a volleyball star at Emerald Ridge, graduating in 2005. She was Emerald Ridge's first Gatorade Player of the Year as the top volleyball player in the state of Washington. Back at the time when freshmen were not allowed to participate in athletics, she was still All-Area 3 times for the Jaguars, and again was the State Player of the Year by Gatorade, by the Seattle Times, by the Seattle PI, by the Tacoma News Tribune. Basically every publication that was out there, she was the Player of the Year. She was rated one of the top 50 in the country for volleyball and went on to a distinguished career at the University of Tennessee, where she was a 3-time academic All-SEC performer. Congratulations, Miss Whitehill. One more round of applause for the second 2025 Hall of Fame class for Emerald Ridge High School. Now it's time for the homecoming court. As we have kicked off our new school year, our students have created an environment for new and improved school spirit. So as part of our court selection, we are also recognizing our most spirited students based on participation in our homecoming activities. Let's welcome our Emerald Ridge Homecoming Court. Leading off for this sophomore class of 2028, we've got Katie Bishop. Katie loves being a part of the cheer team. The cheer community has been so welcoming and she has amazing teammates. Next up, we've got Audrey Foss. Aubrey's favorite memory at ERHS is participating in the very first musical theater competition alongside her best friend. She's inspired by her mom and voice teacher who encourage her to be herself and work hard for her dreams. After graduation, Aubrey hopes to attend college to become a choir teacher while auditioning for Broadway shows. Next up, Olivia McKiernan. Olivia remembers the excitement of the first week of school's High Five Friday, where she loved greeting everyone as they came in. Her dad inspires her because he never fails to succeed, and he shows unwavering love for his family. Our next sophomore is Daniel Nelson. Daniel's standout memory is performing in last year's Dream Only by Night. His teachers inspire him because they make even the most boring subjects interesting. Mary Parker. Mary's favorite ERHS memories from the first week of school, making new friends and meeting so many amazing staff members. Her best friend, Frankie, inspires her to grow and learn every day. Brooke Thompson. Brooke's favorite ERHS memory is going to watch football games. Her most inspirational person in her life is her dad because he never gives up and he keeps going no matter what the challenge. And we've got Madison Kid-Luan. Madison's favorite memory is the excitement of the last homecoming football game. Her dad inspires her by always supporting her through everything. And now for our three most spirited sophomores of the week. First up, we have Tiana Y. Hazlett. She has loved dressing up this week, particularly being a Jaguar on Monday and twinning with Miss Makeupson yesterday. Mason Steen. Mason loved participating in last year's musical theater competition. It was one of the first times he could shine on stage solo and learn about the theater world. His 7th grade homeroom teacher, Mr. Holton, has been his greatest inspiration and supporter. And our top sophomore point getter this week was Ainsley Muhlenbrook. For Ainsley, one of the best memories was being part of sports during her freshman year. Her brother has always been her biggest inspiration, pushing her to be her best. Let's give it up for the amazing sophomore class. And on to 2027, our juniors. First up on our list, we have Sanaya Fair. And his most inspirational person in his life is his church's prophet.
Welcome back, everybody, to Carl Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Washington, the King 5 big game of the week. Brought to you by Phillips Law Firm. The Vikings lead it at the half 32-0. Emerald Ridge celebrating homecoming week, so we've been seeing the homecoming royalty parading down the track tonight. But now it's time to parade out our top plays of the week. King 5 Sports, the only Seattle news station still devoted to high school football, still out there every Friday night. And with that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, here they are from last weekend, the top plays of the week.
Number 8, West Seattle and Chief South. Seahawks kicker Ogi Petronevich nails a 52-yard field goal to end the first half. He thumped it. Number 7, Everett and Edmonds Woodway Warriors. Sophomore George Gizzi launches it for big brother Zach, and he breaks an ankle with that move on his way to the end zone. Number 6, Auburn Riverside and Kentwood. The Conks offense was clicking. Quarterback Brandon Toggle lets it fly. Trey Mayfield all alone. 72 yards for a touchdown in Kentwood's big win. Number 5, Olympia and Hazen. The Highlanders score the only touchdown of the game. Braylon Glafke to Darian Garrett. Great coverage beat by a great pass for the score. Number 4, Lakes and Curtis at Harry Lang. Vikings running back Tice Kinley gets the handoff, gets some huge help from the guys up front, and goes completely untouched for 6. Number 3, Mariner and Glacier Peak. The Grizzlies offense gets rolling. The swing pass to Isaiah Owens, cuts it back, and he's gone. His first of 3 first-half touchdowns. This one good for 60 yards. Number 2, back to Curtis and Lakes, and the Kinley touchdown. This is the ensuing kickoff. Andreas Thomas takes it from his own 4, cuts it back, 96 yards. Look at the wheels on this guy. That kick starts a comeback win for Lakes. And a number 1 from Ed Wood. This is the opening kickoff. Gage Lynch makes a statement in a strong game for the Warriors. Lynch races right up the middle. He is all alone and goes untouched the entire length of the field for our top play.
All right, there they were, the top plays of the week. There's been plenty of big plays in this game. We thought we had a top play when Brighton Bailey took a punt return 70 yards for Puyallup, but it was called back because of a holding. But still plenty of big plays. Jaden Woodland with a touchdown, Brighton Bailey with a touchdown, Lawson Looker with a touchdown, Luke Parker with a touchdown, Josiah Denmark with a touchdown. Add it all up together, that's 32 points for Puyallup. They lead at the half. Coming up in the third quarter, I tell you what, I'm very excited. We've had some great guests already during these big games, from Jason Puckett last week, Todd Millis, Brett McDaniel, Troy Haffaday. But coming up next, a legend. Former Viking head football coach, state champion Mike Huard will join us in the booth for the third quarter. We'll talk some football with Coach Huard, and we'll bring you the second half coming up next. Welcome back, everybody, to Sparks Stadium in Puyallup, Washington, in the heart of Puyallup, Washington. Biggest city in the world that begins and ends with a P, a stone's throw away from the Washington State Fair. At the half, the Vikings, the undefeated Vikings, lead Emerald Ridge 32-0. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our next guest. We've had great conversations with former Emerald Ridge coach and Puyallup player Troy Haffaday, former Vikings receiver Brett McDaniel, now joining us on the King 5 big game. I'm not going to say his name. I'm going to go through the resume first off. He was a three-sport athlete back in the day at Prosser High School. Played football, basketball, and baseball. Pretty good little football player back then. He went on to play football for Central Washington University, was a fullback and a tight end. Graduated from Central back in 1972. Married Peggy, who actually was a graduate of Enumclaw High School. He began his coaching career at White Swan High School, coached at White Swan for 2 years, then went to Foster High for 7 years, and then started coaching at Puyallup High School and coached the Vikings for 17 years. Started coaching Puyallup in 1981, 15 winning seasons, 4 undefeated regular seasons, 143 wins, only 38 losses. 1987 brought Puyallup High School their first state championship, with Billy Joe Hobart, Danny Thurston leading the charge, and he got the Vikings to state title games in 1991, 1992, made it to the state semifinals in 1997, was the Seattle Seahawks Coach of the Year in 1997, and without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the big game, the legendary Mike Huard. And Mike Huard, it is a pleasure to have you join us back at Sparks Stadium tonight. Thanks, and it's always great to see you.
It's so nice to be a legend. Thank you so much. Does that mean you're dead?
No, it just means you've done a lot of good things, Coach.
Well, I've had some great athletes during my time and some great assistant coaches, and blessed to have this opportunity to coach in Puyallup, to live in Puyallup, a couple blocks away, and got to see these guys play their first game against Tumwater. Very impressive, and then on TV down there against Evergreen, where they're down 14-0 after traveling 3 hours to get to a game and coming back and winning 48-14. Very impressed with what I've seen with the new coaching staff, and they look certainly like a playoff team and a contender right now.
They definitely are passing the eye test, Coach, right now. They have big boys up front. We look back at that 1987 team, and a lot of people will talk about Billy Joe Hobart and Danny Thurston, but I think a lot of people that know football will look at Tom Gallagher and players like Steve Wolf. It was the big boys up front leading the way.
Absolutely, and of course Steve Wolf went on to star and play at Washington State University, and Tom Gallagher at the University of Washington. Tom definitely would have been in the pros had he not torn his knee up in the bowl preparation for the Senior Bowl. So, yeah, they had a lot of great guys. Jeff Pulowski, a big fullback in there. Kenny Flash, who teaches at our school. Call him Flash, it's really Flash, but he's a great tailback for us. You know, we didn't have huge people up front other than Steve and Tom, but the kids played so hard. And that game against Gonzaga Prep was, it's feeling like you're walking on top of the air, you know, about 6 feet up for about 5 minutes after you win that game. The thrill was certainly there. And disappointments in 91 and 92 when we got back to the King Bowl. And Darren Erath was a great leader and a two-way starter and a super competitor. And he was a Bobby Dodd Player of the Year when he was a senior in the nation. So he certainly was an outstanding athlete. Went on to Western and led them to a national title. And Kelly Susie was my first quarterback to win a title, league title in 1984. Also starred there in Western Washington. So a bunch of Vikings went on to play college ball, and I'm proud of them all. And blessed to have had an opportunity to grow up with them and have them accept me, even when I was yelling at them.
Well, we've talked for about 5 minutes, and we're getting set for the start of the second half. Emerald Ridge will receive, down 32-0. We've mentioned some great names: Kelly Susie, Tom Gallagher, Steve Wolf. We talked about Mark Ledbetter earlier. But Coach, we didn't mention three names there as we were talking, even as we were talking about your resume, and that would be Damon, Brock, and Luke. And you look down on this field, and I know you and we saw a young kid throwing the ball, and you even mentioned to me that looks like a young Luke Huard throwing the ball down there. You look from up top, and usually you were on the sidelines, but you look up top, how many great memories did you have on this field? How special was it to be not only the coach of so many young men, but to be the coach of your three sons? Damon, Brock, and Luke on this field?
Well, it wasn't always easy, but we didn't bring things home with us. It stayed on the practice field, so at least that's the way I look at it. I'm not sure they always do, but we were very fortunate to have three great sons, and all still involved in football one way or another. And Brock finally going to be coaching his own boy Titus Huard, the sophomore, 6'6", 200 pounds down in Colorado. So I got to see him play a little bit before I came here and had a nice touchdown drive as a backup quarterback. And Damon, always people ask me what to compare to the kids, so it's kind of hard, but Damon was really a kind of a natural. He just had it, and he's one of those kids that scored 10 goals when he was playing soccer at 6 years old. And then Brock, he was an analytical one, and he still is. Of course, he did college commentary for football for the last 20 years or whatever before he decided to coach his boy in high school this year. And I said, well, now you're going to know what it's like to coach your own kid, and good luck with that. But and then you got Luke, who was just kind of a bulldozer, inspirational type of guy to all his teammates. And he went into that college coach and progressed from grad assistant at the University of Washington and to Illinois State as an OC, Georgia State as an OC quarterback coach, Sacramento State OC quarterback coach, and offensive analyst at Texas A&M for 3 years before getting to USC now, going into his 4th year as offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, and getting to coach his nephew, my grandson Sam, who started at the U and progressed on to Cal Poly, and then Utah where he had an injury, and he still has 2 years left going around the world playing college football at USC.
Yeah, an amazing young man. We remember watching Sam quite a bit at Kennedy Catholic and all the things he did there. That was Trey Robinson with the carry for Emerald Ridge. Mikey Puyallup with the tackle for the Vikings. Emerald Ridge trying to get something going here. 2nd and 8. Third quarter, they're down 32-0, and ER didn't like something. They're going to take a timeout, and that gets us back to the conversation with Mike Huard. And we're hearing a lot of history right now with Cal Raleigh, and Gino Suarez could hit 50 home runs, and this could be the first team to have 2 players to hit 50 or more home runs since Mickey Mantle and Roger Maris. Well, we're looking down at Spark Stadium. If I recall, 2 young men you're talking about, Damon Huard, Brock Huard. I still remember the day in the Kingdom, one suiting up for the Miami Dolphins, one suiting up for the Seahawks. I believe, Coach, and correct me if I'm wrong, first time ever that 2 brothers were in an NFL game at the same time at quarterback.
They were the first 2 brothers to start a regular season NFL game, yeah. And then the Mannings, they came in second place after them.
Yeah, the Mannings always behind the Huard boys, right?
So that was pretty unique. At one time we had 3 quarterbacks from Puyallup High School playing in the NFL, Damon Brock and Billy Joe Holbert. So that's pretty cool for a little town of Puyallup having 3 NFL quarterbacks at the same time.
How much do you like to see that the traditions have carried on here at Puyallup High? You go back to your days and you guys would march from the high school over to the field, and that's something that they still take very much pride in. They take a lot of, obviously the baseball team has done very good with Mark Weiss over the past 20 years. The basketball team coming off a great year with Kevin Olson last year. But when it comes to Puyallup High, you put this high school on the map when it came to football, and they've kept that tradition alive.
Well, once you get it started, it's nice to keep it going, and they certainly look like they're doing that this year. Mark Weiss, a good friend of mine, I remember when he came, he says, Coach Huard, I'm going to make this a baseball school, too. And he certainly has done that. I'm very proud of him, and he finally retired, and I hope he has some good days where he can just reminisce. And he just is a great coach, a great person.
He should be in the Hall of Fame, no question, bringing a couple state titles. I don't know how many. Over 300 wins, I know, probably a lot more than that. And the great thing that Mark did, that you did, that we're seeing, we've talked about Emerald Ridge and Puyallup, is not only it's about this level, but it's about building these kids for the future, putting a lot of kids into college and beyond in the professional ranks.
Yeah, and Mark Ledbetter also was in the USFL, so who is a pro as well, besides my boys, Billy Joe, and of course Dane Looker, who's coaching out here with the Vikings now, his son. So pretty cool.
Not bad. And not bad right now. The Viking crowd on their feet, and nobody's left over there. They're enjoying this one tonight. And they're not gonna rest, because if things continue to go well here, they're gonna say, great win, let's now get ready for the Sumner Spartans, which has become somewhat of a rival. And back in the day, that was a rival of yours as well too. I don't know, just Rogers Rams has always been a rival up on the South Hill, but There's something about Puyallup versus Sumner, too.
Well, we used to call him Scumner, but I guess I shouldn't say that on the air. I don't want to psych him up.
I'll make sure Keith Ross.
When the boys come across the river to play the Vikings, we got to take out our swords and make a stand and send the Spartans home. Yeah.
You're fueling the fire, and this game's not even over yet, Coach.
Well, Travis and Coach Ross has done a super job. There's no doubt about that, and Sumner's got a great team.
I feel like Coach Ross has a lot of things that you two are very similar. He's got longer hair, though.
Yeah, I'm kind of jealous about him having all that hair, but yeah, he seems to be a player's coach. Kids seem to like him a lot, and they seem to work hard for him. And they got some kids that have moved in. Nowadays it seems like kids can go anywhere they want to play. It's kind of like the colleges, but you grow them at home and you develop them. And there was a period when we beat Rogers 15 years in a row, and there wasn't an elementary kid that ever saw them beat us that went through high school. And so we kind of take pride in that city championship stuff. And
sure.
Gene Bone was a line coach for me. Went to Rogers, and it's just a tough situation since Emerald Ridge came into existence. So, it's tough up there right now, and hopefully they'll get it going. I think they've had a couple wins this year. They're kind of moving forward.
2-1 right now coming into the night. Rogers Rams, and ER has a nice over the last decade. It's been a playoff team. That was Jaden Woodland with the catch for the Vikings. Luke Parker in the shotgun formation, trips to the left. Third quarter, handoff, Brighton, and he's been running a lot tonight. Only picks up a couple yards there. It's going to be interesting to see this Puyallup team next week as well, because they're going to add a running back to the mix. We're seeing a lot of Brighton Bailey tonight. They have a transfer from Emerald Ridge. You talked about the transfers. Malcolm Akufo, who he is a big, strong sophomore running back. Kind of like a Phil Knoll back in the day, if you will, a Mark Ledbetter.
Oh, wait, Phil wasn't that big, but Mark Ledbetter certainly was.
Mark Ledbetter was a big boy.
He'd scare the crap out of you. He was a linebacker, fullback, and you didn't want to mess around with Mark, that's for sure.
Parker throws to the left side, and that is Jaden Woodland again with another catch, and this kid has just been fantastic all night long. Committed to Eastern Washington earlier this week, and he has been a favorite target of Luke Parker. Flag on the field, and I think that may be a little excessive celebration. And this happens, Coach. You saw that in the Rogers Rams rivalries. Things get a little chippy out there, right? A little bit.
No, never. Going back to I think the '88. I mean, I'm going back a few decades here, but
was that the Mark Wheatley versus Billy Joe Hobart game?
And we came down. We marched down from the high school. We get to the field an hour and a half early, and the plate both sides are packed. It's 3 deep around the fence outside. It was just so exhilarating, and of course, the right guys won. But that was very exciting, electric.
Unofficially,
like
Coach, I think that was the biggest crowd ever in Spark Stadium history was that game when Mark Wheatley and the Rams faced off against Billy Joe Hobart, and the Vikings that day. And,
during the play, we have a dead ball, personal foul on Emerald Ridge.
The Vikings do a good job with their outside bubble screens, to their wide receivers, and they punch that ball up inside and stuff pretty well. So they've got a good balance, and they seem to take advantage of what the defenses are showing.
How hard is it, DJ Mims taking over as the head coach of Puyallup? I talked with him earlier. He was at Mercer Island. He played for Coach Lutton at Franklin Pierce. Year one, things are going well. Any advice that you'd give him? Not that he needs any, but it's always good to hear from a fellow Viking coach.
Well, just keep the pedal to the metal, and keep working the kids hard. And he sure got it. He sure seems to motivate them and got them doing the right things. So I'm very happy for him. It's my starts here were 4-5, 4-5, 5-4 before we took off. So he's going to win all these games. He's not going to have much room for improvement.
Well, and you said pedal to the metal, and that's exactly what they do. They hand it off to Brighton Bailey. He follows his big offensive lineman, and you've got a young man, the captain, number 56, Kova Doyle. He just continues to move the ground up there and providing plenty of holes for Brighton. Touchdown Puyallup. They take a 38-0 lead. They're going to go for 2.
Well, it kind of looks that way, but I don't really need to do that, but they can work on this 2-point play here, I guess.
Well, it's something they tried earlier and it didn't go well. It's Lawson Looker, the son of Amy and Dane Looker, who's going to go from quarterback to holder here. So
Well, there's another information for you. The guy that held for the most field goals in NFL history back a few years ago was for a kicker from Miami, and the holder's name was Damon Huard.
Seriously now?
Yeah.
Okay.
At that time, that season, he set the record for the most field goals, and he was the holder. Yeah.
Now, do you know, I don't know if I've ever told you this story, because Brett McDaniel asked why I didn't play football for the Vikings, because we had a great quarterback by the name of Damon Huard, and, he could have used another wide receiver.
You would have been great, Chris.
Had great hands, but I blame your son, Damon, for ruining my football career, because it was an 8th grade game at Edgemont Junior High. Aylin came into town, and I was the strong safety for Edgemont. And I gave up 7 touchdowns that day where balls were thrown over my head. And I love them. Coach Luckman and Coach Piot just stared at me and said, "You're making this Aylin quarterback look like he's in the NFL." Sure enough, that quarterback was Damon Huard. And so at that point, Coach, I said, I'm going to play a little tennis maybe instead.
Well, and you were a great basketball player too, Chris. So.
We had some good times.
Yeah, certainly did.
We had some good times. 39-0 your score here. Roughing the kicker is the call on that one, and this is where things are gonna. This is where Torrey Donovan has got to. This is frustrating when you lose like this. You're losing like this to one of your rivals, and obviously the Vikings are going to be excited. But this is where you got to take me through both sides of the sidelines here, Coach. If you're up, what are you telling your guys? If you're down like this, what are you telling your guys?
Well, if you're down like this, you're telling your guys don't quit. Don't be a quitter. Do the best you can every play. And unfortunately, momentum is such a factor in football. And you get your head down and you go, oh, here we go again. And I know several times when we beat Rogers those years, one after another, we'd score first, and I think they put their heads down and go, oh, God, here we go again. And you just got to convince your kids not to quit, and that you got to take pride in your effort every time you move. You got to give 100%. And don't quit.
Okay, and now go to the other sidelines. Take me to the Puyallup sidelines. Your coach, DJ, you got a nice lead right here. What are you telling those guys?
Just keep doing what you're doing. Play hard, be smart. Don't be cocky. Don't open your mouth and be stupid. You see some kids doing it in the pros and college sometimes. And just focus on what you're doing and be a good sport about everything. I know one time we lost to Washington the year that we actually went on to win a state title. The next year we beat them like 85-6, and everybody's PO'd at me and what's going on. But we had 3rd stringers in there, 4th stringers in there, just diving the ball, and yet they're still going down and scoring. And those kids, it's their opportunity to play.
Well,
and we did try to rub the score in, but sometimes that happens.
And we just saw that, Coach. We saw a young man by the name of Keegan Johnson getting some playing time. He wants to make a tackle, and Trey Robinson gets the pitch, and Keegan Johnson is in there and makes a great play on defense. So, yeah, some of these guys are getting some PT tonight that aren't starters, and they want to show the coaches, hey, I deserve to play a little bit.
Well, they're out there in practice every day. It's not only the starters that make a team, it's those backups, and you need good scout team players to try to show your starters what the offense is doing. It was always tough when you went to play like Tumwater, these wing T teams, and that's where I was impressed when Puyallup beat Tumwater.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Because you just can't simulate the speed and the deception that those guys have with your backups. But
how's this for motivation, Coach? Don't know if you heard this. They played Tumwater last year, and the T-Birds beat them pretty good.
Oh, I know. I saw that.
And Coach DJ, I was driving down here one night, and I saw a score on the scoreboard, and it was like a Tuesday night, and he put last year's score up every day at practice, so the players knew what they were going up against, and obviously that little motivation worked because they came out of the gates and knocked off, as you said, a very good Tumwater team that will be in the running to go for a state title this year.
Absolutely.
In the 2A.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy for the new coach, and I think that he's going to do well. He certainly did well at Mercer Island, and that's not an easy place to necessarily win against the teams that they play against. And he certainly got these guys believing in Puyallup, and everybody's excited for him. And I just can't wait to see him go win a state championship.
Well, we'll see. I think they'll say one game at a time. It starts tonight with Emerald Ridge. Things looking good. 3rd quarter. Vikings lead at 39-0. Next week, they will not be playing on Friday. They'll be playing right here Saturday. The Vikings will be home. The Sumner Spartans crossing the mighty Puyallup River.
Into Viking country. Be careful.
The beautiful crystal clear Puyallup River.
Oh, yeah.
With a brown tint. And the handoff to Trey Robinson, and he's going nowhere. And once again, that's Keegan Johnson in on the tackle, and a couple Vikings in there. Number 8, Cody McFadden. Will Lorenz has been all over the ball tonight. I'm very impressed not only with his offensive Puyallup, but the defense is flying around out there. Did your boys ever want to play defense, Brock, Damon, and Luke?
Well, I think Luke would have been a great defensive end. No, he was just a bulldozer. I think the coach just was afraid to play his kids on defense.
Didn't want to put them out there, right?
Of course, I played Billy Joe on defense and Darren Erath on defense, but
the Huard boys got a break.
Oh, yeah, they're a bunch of weenies, so just let them play quarterback, hand the ball off, and throw it down the field.
Now, Brett McDaniel was saying he actually wishes that he would have seen more, trips to the left, 5 receiver sets. That we're seeing some of that tonight. But you were a more balanced attack back then.
I got to know the University of Washington coaches back in '74, and was able to get playbooks for them, and got pretty good relationships with the quarterback coach there, Ray Dorr, and so we kind of did a lot of the stuff that the Huskies did. And when Todd Elstrom went there his freshman year, he played a lot because the terminology, everything was pretty similar, and it was a great resource for me to be able to talk to those guys about what they're doing and why, and defensively as well. So I appreciate the University of Washington coaches that shared their information with me, and it helped a great deal.
Polino throws deep. 2 Vikings on the coverage. Nothing going there. And this is an Emerald Ridge team that came in. They love to throw the ball, but the Viking secondary has been all over. Zeb Zenkner, Hunter Russler, Corbin Williams. He's one of the young freshmen I talked about earlier in the broadcast. He's a weapon, a name you need to remember. But these receivers have been just tied up tonight. Noah Jones has made a couple nice catches, but there hasn't been a lot out there for this Emerald Ridge team tonight.
Well, I'm looking at the sideline over there at Puyallup. How many coaches do they have? 12?
They got a lot over there. It's nice to see some former. I'm going to go through my a coach that you know well, and I'd love you to brag him up a little bit. That being a wide receiver that played with your son Brock, Dane Looker, one of the coaches over there, and what a incredible story we saw from Dane. Great wide receiver here, goes to Western Washington to play basketball. Decides to leave Western Washington, goes to university, and Brock and Dane have just great connection there at the University of Washington. Dane goes on to play in the NFL. Yeah. Just a great story of a young man that worked hard, never gave up, always showed up early to practice, and just what a career he had.
He's a tough cookie, and his brothers were tough cookies too. They have an aggressive attitude, and Jesse was a great player with Luke, and anyway, Dane was so small and slow, supposedly not good enough to get a Division I scholarship in football, supposedly. But he kind of grew a little bit when he went to college, and a lot of times that's what happens to kids. They start to physically fill out, and Brock knew what he could do and talked to him into coming there to the U, and what a great relationship and story that became.
Yeah, the rest is history with those two. And I mentioned Dane, a former Viking over there coaching, Dennis McFadden, Jacob Heineman, Tyler Torgensen, and Dylan Alway all played for the Vikes and now all coaching over there.
Okay, those guys that were kind of past my time. Jacob I remember him in high school. I had him in the weight training class, but I stopped coaching in '97 and kept teaching until 2010, and I wanted to go support my kids who were in college and pros, and so that's what I did. And obviously it was kind of hard the first couple of years. You miss it. But
you'll never get that time back that watching your kids play.
That's
right. You made an impact on this community, and then your kids are going out playing college and pro. I wouldn't second guess that, and I know you don't. You and Peg had a lot of good times traveling across the globe and seeing your 3 boys.
Well, I probably could have gotten a couple of fights when they were playing college ball, and someone would say something negative, and I'd turn around and my head would be turning red, and I'd be saying stuff that I can't repeat. And they usually would back down, even though they're 10 years younger and a lot stronger. But you don't want to mess with an old guy wants to protect his kids and doesn't want to hear bad things about it. But, quarterbacks get booed, and that's the nature of the game.
Yep. Jaden Woodland with the punt return, and he's been a good little weapon tonight. And interesting, you mentioned we talking about the former Vikings on the Viking staff, but Emerald Ridge has got quite a few of them as well. Adam Skockle, Kelly Susie, I believe, coached up there for a little bit. Troy Haffaday, who joined us earlier tonight. These are all former Vikings, staying in the community, wanting to coach football.
Now, they're just tremendous young people. I mean, they're not quite so young anymore, but in comparison to me, they are. And they were great kids to coach. And beautiful people.
Yeah.
They got great hearts, and they do things the right way. Trying to develop young people and teach them some discipline and to care about the teammates and other people, to kind of spread the love a little bit.
Third quarter from Spark Stadium. The Vikings lead it 39-0. Luke Parker still out there at quarterback for the Vikings. Next week, it will be interesting to see how Puyallup attacks it, as Luke will move to the wide receiver spot. And there's the pass, and there's the catch. That's Jai Mitchell with another catch, probably his fourth of the night. Big target for Luke Parker.
Yeah, I heard about them having another quarterback that came in from Central Kitsap. Is that true?
Noah Smith, yeah.
This kid's doing pretty well.
The transfer, the rule was he had to sit out the first 4 games. He'd be eligible for the 5th game. So I had the chance to come down here, and looks like a great kid, great young man. So it will be interesting to see. Luke Parker's looked pretty good out here 4 games into the season.
Yes,
for
he's done a good job.
Parker takes the snap. Parker throws, and once again, that is Jai Mitchell with the catch. Now I'd like to see him. I'd like to see him get to a young man by the name of Zach McGowan. I got a couple kids out there. I've coached some of these kids over the years. So I'm hoping the next one, Coach. Did you get that ever from parents? Like, could we get the ball to my son a little bit more, Coach? Or and how did you handle parents? Because you're pretty good.
Well, I had one parent get really mad at me because I remember telling his kid who never got to play that he was going to play, and I didn't get him in. And his parent was pretty pissed off at me, and understandably so. And you can't make promises to people, but you want to try to get them in when you can. And a lot of these people come in thinking their kids are going to get scholarships, and that's a great pass and catch.
And that is a nice catch, and you know who that is on the catch there? That's number 3, Lawson Looker. Does he look a little bit like Dane out there?
Oh, he looks a lot better than Dane.
There's Lawson Looker with a high five to Zach McGowan, his good buddy, number 4. Yeah. They make it really easy, Coach, for you. Their targets are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, that's a little easy for you, Chris.
For a kid that grew up on the North Hill that went to Edgemont Junior High, we need that help. That's really nice. Trips to the right. Third quarter, 2:08 to play. It's been all Puyallup tonight. Parker looking to the sidelines. Brighton Bailey to the right of him. 4 receivers are out. Parker wants to talk things over. Didn't like something. He's going to take a timeout. And what a thrill we've had tonight. Coach Mike Huard joining us in the booth. Former head coach for White Swan.
Well, humble beginnings, that's for sure.
But not your college career. Take me back to Central Washington University. Quite a run back there for CWU. I mean, it's a good school, good football program.
I went to a reunion this last weekend in Prosser, and I went by Central and stopped there. I got inducted to the Hall of Fame, looked at my picture and all that stuff. I had a picture of me coaching here at Puyallup with Chris Brown, who runs Subaru Puyallup, standing right behind me. So I sent him a copy of that picture and said, "You looks like you're in the Hall of Fame, Chris." And he was a second-team center for me, and he doesn't charge me anything when I get work done on my car there. And God, if I could have got him first team, who knows what I would get from him, Chris.
You may have a nice car. But you mean your boys aren't providing with nice new cars?
But the facilities at Central Washington now are incredible. They are so good and so new, and they got everything. Back in the day, 68, 72, we had a little tiny area for a weight room. Now they got these huge facilities, and it's just beautiful. They're a Division II school, and they travel, all around the country to play, and I guess they can afford to do that. Whoops!
Off the helmet and interception. That's the second deflected interception for the Jags on this night. He was looking for Jai Mitchell, just getting near the 2-yard line, but hits off the helmet of an Emerald Ridge player and bounces to another Emerald Ridge player, and that's a pick for ER. So trying to get some positives here.
Kid using his head on that play, that's for sure.
Yeah. Not that you need it, Coach, but the big game is brought to you by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you. And you know why you don't need it? Because we've been talking about all these great players, and you've surrounded yourself with great coaches, and you got 3 good sons and these grandkids. But anybody that knows you knows that you've been pretty lucky to have a young lady by the name of Peg Huard that grew up in Enumclaw by your side during this entire ride.
53 years we've been together. It just shows how much patience I have, Chris. She's the rock of the family. There's no doubt about that. She deserves all the credit for the kids and how they've turned out. We didn't have a lot of money, and we'll raise our 3 boys in a one bathroom room, 1,250-foot square little rambler, and then of course my grandsons, Damon's kids and Brock's kids, have their own bedroom with walk-in closets and their own bathroom. And Sam actually asked me one time, "Grandpa, you think I'm spoiled?" And I go, "Well, this is what your uncle and dad had to grow up in, and one bathroom. They probably went outside more than you've had to."
Good times, though. Those are good times.
My grandkids are just so loving and so great. So very happy about that.
You got a pat on the back from Dane Looker right there.
I never heard of him.
Never heard of him? Yeah.
No, never heard of him.
Handoff there. And it looks like could be a fumble on the play.
Oh, boy.
Cody McFadden, whose dad played for the Vikings, recovers the fumble. And just when you thought maybe a little momentum was going to ER's side, a fumble, and here comes Puyallup's offense back on the field.
Might be time for Puyallup to run the ball a little bit and, work on that aspect of their game.
Take a little clock off right now?
Well, up 39-0. It might be time for that.
Well, they got their running back, Brighton Bailey, out there. Could see a little Cody McFadden out there running the ball too. Luke Parker still in at QB. In the shotgun formation, trips to the right. Parker is going to go to the air. Throw is a little high, looking for Jaden Woodland.
Parker's pass intended for 2. Jaden Woodland falls incomplete.
39-0. Next Saturday, Puyallup will take on Sumner. As for ER, they'll try to regroup after this one. They're going to battle. We've mentioned the Rogers Rams coming into the night 2-1. They'll be facing off against the Rogers Rams here. Then they head to Curtis, South Kitsap, and then they'll wrap up the season against Sumner.
Well, they kind of changed the format of the SPSL. Looks like they've gone to 2 divisions now.
North and a south.
Yeah. I anticipate the 2 division winners will then play for the championship. I assume.
Yes, yeah. They usually have the North and the South face off. Sumner, I believe, won the North last year, and GK won the South. And it's looking like GK is going to be your favorites on the South side this year. But the North is, I think you got Puyallup, who's looking pretty good, and Sumner, who's looking pretty good too right now. So it's going to be interesting.
I wish I could be here for that game, but I'm going to be watching my grandson in Colorado next weekend. That's head on our way down to Arizona to be snowbirds.
And I got to brag you up, too. You got a granddaughter playing college basketball as well.
Yeah, she's got an injury now, so I'm not sure what this season's going to hold for her. But she's, a couple granddaughters that played basketball, and Damon's girl was playing some volleyball at the U, but she can't go anymore. She's got back issues, so she had to step aside.
Gotcha.
But she got admitted into the business school there, so she's brilliant, and she'll do a great job, and she needs to focus on
Parker
nice
to
catch.
the air, and that is a gorgeous catch right there. Jaden Woodland. We've been saying the name a lot tonight, and he's been making a lot of great plays. And that may be the end of his night, because I don't know what else this young man can do as the Vikings take a 45-0 lead here at the end of the third quarter.
They have a lot of talent at the receiver position. They have a lot of guys that seem to be able to make good plays. And as you know, the line, of course, determines everything. They're obviously pretty good too.
I'm grabbing the stats from Coach Huard.
Oh.
We want to thank you so much for your time, for joining us. 143-38 record, 17 seasons, 9 league titles, 1987 state champs, SPSL Coach of the Year, not once, not twice, how about 9 times? 9 times. Tacoma Athletic Commission Coach of the Year 3 times. 1997 Seattle Seahawks State Coach of the Year. Has been inducted into 4 Hall of Fames. That's what a legend is, Coach. That's what a legend is.
Well, a coach that we beat a couple times said to me after a game, and probably should have won the game, he said to me, better to be lucky than good, and stormed off. And I thought to myself, well, I was lucky that you're the coach because you had that game wrapped up and just anyway, it's it can be emotional sometimes.
What I love, too, is
well, we haven't talked about Eric Curley.
You know what? We're going to take a quick break. We're going to go third, fourth quarter's coming up. Let's get you know what? Can we stay here, Olivia? Let's just stay here. Can we stay here? Do we need to take a break? All right, we're going to stay here. Producer Olivia says she's enjoying the conversation with Coach Huard. You mentioned, we haven't even talked about, you talk about Eric Curley, we haven't even mentioned another young player that played for Washington State, that being Colin Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
So,
had Colin not been held back, he might have been the quarterback instead of my son. But he was held back, and he obviously was a great athlete and a wonderful young man. And he had a few of those passes that you threw out there to the wide receiver, and then he threw a double pass to somebody else down the line. And I remember against Curtis, we were down 20-0 at halftime. And one of the big plays, but we won 21-20. And one of the plays was we threw a bubble screen out to Colin. Then he hit Todd Elstrom for the big touchdown.
Todd Elstrom, another great player.
Oh, yeah.
46-0 after the Woodland touchdown. Recapping the touchdowns for Puyallup, it was Luke Parker to Woodland, Brighton Bailey with the run, Luke Parker to Lawson Looker, then it was Luke Parker on a run, then it was Luke Parker to Josiah Denmark, then it was Brighton with another touchdown, and then that's Parker to Woodland for his second TD. Add it all up together, Coach, it's 46-0 Puyallup Vikings right now.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, I wish I was around to watch that Sumner game next Saturday. It's too bad I'm going to be gone, but I'll probably watch that on NFHS. You know, you can watch any game you want to now.
So we're going to bring in Troy Haffaday in a couple minutes here.
Okay.
But I have 2 things for you. Actually, 3 things. I want 3 things as we look at this game. Advice. Tomorrow there's going to be, the next day, coaches watching this. Advice to young coaches out there first. What would your advice be to young coaches getting going? Thoughts on what they're doing?
Well, I started off without too many wins in my coaching career at White Swan and Foster until I got to a little better situation here at Puyallup where people expected to win, had a lot of support, and we had the numbers finally to compete. And, just keep believing, keep working hard. You know, don't doubt yourself. Don't give up. You know, winners win in the end, so to speak. You've heard that before. And, things can turn around. And, you need good situations to be in, but you can make situations better by working hard and continue to believe in yourself and loving your players.
Looks like Emerald Ridge is going to some of their second-string players now that they're bringing in the booth. And Coach, 2 last things. We got good advice for coaches. Now we look at all these young athletes out there. What would you say to all these young athletes out there?
Well, sports is something that you do and then you don't. This is your time. Make the most of it. You know, and try not to be selfish. Try to be happy for those around you who do well. And don't be jealous. Just give it everything you got and keep believing in yourself and keep working hard. Good things will happen.
Nathan Rodriguez Huerta in at quarterback, number 15 for Emerald Ridge. And last but not least, for me, not only were you a coach to great kids, but you were also a parent to 3 amazing boys that I've had the pleasure to have great relationships with, and still to this day from high school on. What would you say to parents out there? Because it's a crazy world with some of the parents out there.
Don't always bail them out. Don't always say that they're correct with everything they do. Don't be afraid to discipline them. And oftentimes now it's always somebody else's fault when things don't go their way, and you gotta be looking at yourself and realize that kids need love and kids need discipline. And I remember Frosty Westring saying that kids don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, and how true that is, and that goes for raising your own kids too. So my wife always had the wooden spoon with her when she went shopping. The kids were young, and so they probably got it on the butt a few times. Nowadays you do that and they're going to have everybody throwing you in jail.
Oh, Peg. Well, Mike Huard, it's been a pleasure having you up in the booth. I want to get you home. As Peg said, I got to get you home by 9:30, so we'll,
She did? I was hoping I could go out to the bar, and get drunk.
But thank you for everything you've meant to this great city of Puyallup, to the football community, not only to the Vikings, the Rams, for the entire state. We appreciate your time, and it's been fun catching up with you as always.
Well, thank you for your kindness, and I appreciate you a great deal, Chris, and what you do for high school sports. And back when we were playing our games, Channel 4, we'd have all the rundown of scores after games, and they'd have all these highlights and stuff. And now you're kind of carrying the torch for high school football. So keep it up. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. There he is, Mike Huard, one of the greats of all time. We've had the pleasure this year to sit down with Monty Kohler, Sid Otten, and I put Mike Huard right up there with all those coaches for what he has meant to high school football. So with not a lot of time left here, it's been all Vikings on this homecoming night for Emerald Ridge. No matter what the score reads, the dance will go on. That's the good news for the ER students. And it's going to be fun now. Bringing in to wrap things up will be Troy Haffaday, who played for Coach Mike Huard. We'll get his thoughts on that. They're going to hug here in the booth. Big Game Taylor's been just phenomenal tonight, bringing us the action here. Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you, our sponsor for the King 5 Big Game. Next week, going to be another good little rivalry battle. Glacier Peak taking on Lake Stevens. And Glacier Peak, they know how to bring it to that student section. And that's Brighton Bailey still in the game, still running hard. Luke Parker still in at quarterback. 46-0 your score here from Sparks Stadium. Been a fun night tonight. Troy Haffaday, Brett McDaniel, Coach Mike Huard, just some legends in the 2-5-3. All three of them have touched the lives of so many over the years. Here comes the Vikings. Preston Liberal leading the charge. The big man up front. You got Kova, Marley, Preston, Colby, and And has been a playmaker tonight on that right side. Parker, shotgun, looking, throwing, and hooking up with Lawson Looker. Looker 30, high-stepping, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Lawson Looker. And how about that, a little high-stepping fun. And Mike Huard in the background said that one just reminded him of Dane Looker back in the day, but the Law Dog doing it tonight on the field. That is his second touchdown of the night. Zach McGowan leading the way there, helping him out with some blocks. Nice little throw from Luke Parker. Another great touchdown. And this one has been all Puyallup. And if you didn't know about the Puyallup Vikings before tonight, you sure do now. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very good Emerald Ridge team. This is a team that knocked off Kentwood, that was leading Bethel, that kept GK to only 14 points. And now they're an extra point away from putting up 53 points against a very disciplined, good defensive team. And they're going to keep this one for the 2-point conversion. And it is good, and that is Looker one more time, who's having himself a night tonight. 55-0 now after the Looker touchdown and the Looker 2-point conversion. Troy Haffaday back in the booth. And Troy, We've had Brett McDaniel. What a pleasure to have Mike Huard in here sharing his wisdom, his history. But just you had a chance to go out of the booth. I think we're seeing a Puyallup team tonight, Troy, that they're showing that they could be a state contender. Because this is an ER team that's not bad.
Oh, no, they're good. They're real good. And, it was apparent when they played GK the other night. And, Puyallup executed. They were resilient, and they did a really nice job of, attacking them and being relentless.
And Coach Donovan and this Emerald Ridge team, they don't give up a lot of points like this, but you look at this Puyallup team and the weapons they have and the size up front, it's gonna be hard to slow this team down. And then they're gonna add a quarterback that arguably is even better than Luke Parker, and then you put Luke Parker as one of those playmakers, and then you add a running back in Malcolm Akufo, and you've got a 1-2 punch with Akufo and Bailey, and I'm like, it's going to be interesting to see how they match up with Sumner next Saturday. I'll be honest with you.
And making sure they stay grounded, right? And taking this as one game and moving to the next, and knowing that they got to get better. And ER has to do the same thing. They got to take this as an opportunity to learn and grow, and that's what this the ER coaching staff is so incredible with. They know how to bounce back from these games, and that scoreboard is irrelevant. It's a loss in the column, but they're going to come back and be who they are.
And sometimes you learn actually more from the losses, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, it's a great teaching tool, and it like everyone says, it teaches you a lot about the character of your team, and I'm kind of watching the dynamics on the sidelines as they're going through, and they're still in the game. They're going down underneath the tent. They're looking at film. So I love the fact that they're not looking at the scoreboard right now. They're looking at how do we get better with each next play, and that's just a sign of just a great leadership, and kids buying into that, and it really does reassure them that tomorrow's going to be okay.
And there's a lot of football to be played, and as we know, and as you know, there's several teams that get out of the SBCL in the playoffs, and Emerald Ridge is still in a good position to make a playoff run.
Yes.
And you're right. You got to kind of learn from what happened tonight, and now go get ready for the Rogers Rams, who they'll face next week.
And Rogers looking, pretty decent as well. So, again, it's every Friday night is a great opportunity just to soak in, the environment, as Brett was talking about. And, I was sitting back and just watching all the Puyallup legends that were walking through, and it was just, this what makes this community so special is, the people that are in it, and they're humble, and their humility, and the love they have for the kids.
Well, and my apologies to some of those Puyallup greats, because I looked at my phone. I have 122 text messages that I haven't read since the broadcast. So hopefully Coach Huard and I didn't say anything that somebody took offense to. But we're having fun up here, Coach Happeday.
You know what? And that's what this is all about, is fun. And again, it's a game that we get to play and coach. And, and the kids get to have a little excitement. The parents get to have the excitement. And in the end, we get to go back to our day tomorrow and just reflect on we got to hang out with some good family and friends. And I'm just looking at the ER stands. It's still full.
Still packed.
It's still packed.
And you helped build that tradition there. It's been fun to Adam Skokel took over, for several years and helped build up this tradition, I know, with his incredible wife, Kelly, and just building up the fans and the making it a special place to be. And you look at the sidelines, and the cheerleaders are down there just welcome them. It's been a tough night for the players, but they'll get through. The homecoming dance goes on, if you will.
It does. It really does. And like you said, Coach Skokel and Coach Donovan have done a great job with the rest of the staff of just developing and creating a culture that will continue for years to come.
And that will do it from Sparks Stadium. After 3 big games that came down to the final play, well, this one was pretty much all Puyallup tonight. Now, Emerald Ridge had a couple nice interceptions that were deflected, but they just could not slow down this Puyallup offense tonight. Luke Parker leading the charge, and like we said, we'll go over the weapons again. I mean, Luke Parker, Jaden Woodland, 2 touchdowns, the Eastern Washington commit. Lawson Looker, phenomenal basketball player, football player, 2 touchdowns tonight. Brighton Bailey, 2 touchdowns tonight. We saw a lot of catches from Jai Mitchell. I got to give credit to number 4, Zach McGowan. Didn't make a lot of catches, but he's a guy making blocks down the field. And then you got to look at the big boys up front. Kova, Marley, Preston, Kobe, just doing some damage. And then you go to the defensive side of the ball. And Troy, you said it in that first quarter. This Puyallup defense was flying around the field tonight. And we saw that from Will Lorenz and Mikey and Markel and the big boys up front, KT and Mikey T and Malachi.
Yeah, the thing is that it's real deceptive. They look real big, but they're big and athletic. They move real smooth, and they'll continue to get bigger and stronger and quicker. And so, like you said, Puyallup's future's looking pretty good. And just stay away from the injury bug, and man, you don't know what's going to happen this year with Puyallup. And congratulations to Lawson tonight. I mean, gosh, that last play was just phenomenal. And Coach Huard was talking about how that looked like one of those plays that Dane would run. And and for Dane to be able to witness that on the sidelines, as his son,
it's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah,
it's surreal.
Pretty special stuff. So Emerald Ridge will try to regroup, and they'll get ready for the Rogers Rams next week. Another rivalry showdown. That's the battle for the hill, the South Hill. It's funny. Denzel Boston and Brandon Gibson, 2 players that played for Rogers and ER. And I remember interviewing them on the field at the Husky game. And I said, "Hey, Puyallup," and they both say, "Egan, we're from the South Hill." Yeah. So that will be the battle for the South Hill as the Rams take on Emerald Ridge. Next Saturday, it will be the Sumner Spartans, as Mike Huard said, crossing the mighty Puyallup River, coming over to Spark Stadium to battle the Vikings in what should be a dandy next week. But Troy Haffaday, can't thank you enough for joining us in the booth. It has been fun. Any final thoughts to the parents, kids, and coaches all watching tonight?
Well, hey, thanks for coming out tonight. And again, I just want to say thank you, Chris, for just bringing light to our community and allowing us to enjoy just what you've done in so many different ways that we can't thank you enough for it. So just again, you just don't understand how big it is for the parents and the players to be highlighted on a Friday night like you've done tonight. So thank you very much.
I appreciate that, and working with coaches like you has made it easy through the years. Next week on the big game, we're going to be heading north. We're going to be heading up to Snohomish country. It will be Glacier Peak. We'll be taking on Lake Stevens. Tom Try has put together, some are saying this is one of the best Tom Try teams that we've seen in a long time, and that's saying a lot because you're talking about a Lake Stevens team that's won 2 state titles in the last 3 years, and they look mighty good. We watched them beat Bellevue earlier this season. Glacier Peak off to a great start. They're undefeated. That's going to be a rivalry showdown. That's going to be a fun one. So that is next week. That will do it from Spark Stadium. A big shout-out to everybody involved on the game day crew. Olivia back inside the studios. Aiden, our engineer extraordinaire. Big Game Taylor on the camera tonight, and Big Game Gabe is down on the field on the second camera. And Milt the Stilt Hightower in the truck tonight. Can't thank him and Keith as well. So Troy Haffaday, it's been a pleasure. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you, Chris.
The Big Game is sponsored by Phillips Law Firm, unleashing justice for you.